Chapter 2392. Meeting Mayuja again, are we going back the way we came? Zhuan stood up and asked the Alchemy Emperor Turtle. That path can only be entered, not exited, and I need to find something. Take me there. You don't have to be suspicious, because the place I'll take you to is the place where the life or death pill is about to appear, the Alchemy Emperor Turtle said. Zhuan's eyes lit up when he heard this, and he said, Then you lead the way. I'll take you there. The Alchemy Emperor Turtle nodded and was about to guide Zhuan to the location of the life or death pill when its expression suddenly changed. What's wrong? Zhuan could not help but ask when he noticed the change in the Alchemy Emperor Turtle's expression. The Alchemy Emperor Turtle's expression became serious. It took a deep breath and said, Someone found the path I opened and came in. Zhuan was surprised. Ever since Zhuan and the Alchemy Emperor Turtle entered the path, the entrance was covered by black fog. Ordinary cultivators could not find it at all. But now, the Alchemy Emperor Turtle directly said that someone had entered the path. This was really unbelievable. Who could see through the cover of the black fog? What should we do now? Should we leave or wait for that person to appear? Zhuan asked. The Alchemy Emperor Turtle took a deep breath and said, I left a mark on the path, so I know that someone has entered it. Looking at the path, he seems to be very familiar with it. I'm afraid he's coming for the altar. Let's wait here first. Zhuan had no objection to the Alchemy Emperor Turtle's suggestion. After the two found a hidden place, they used a powerful restriction formation to completely hide the place. Zhuan also restrained his aura. After waiting like this for 2 hours, a figure appeared in Zhuan's line of sight. This figure was very bloated. Obviously, it was a fat man. The fat man tiptoed closer to the altar and walked around it. He clicked his tongue in amazement and said, There are actually 9,999 death candles here. That's quite a lot. When the fat man arrived at the north of the altar, his face was completely revealed to Zhuan. When Zhuan saw the fatty's face, he was surprised. He was not unfamiliar with the fatty. In fact, he was very familiar with him. Do you know this person? The Pill Emperor Turtle noticed Zhuan's strange expression and asked. Yes, I've met this person a few times, Zhuan said ambiguously. The Pill Monarch Turtle nodded and said, This person was able to discover that path, so he must be extraordinary. However, how many times have you met him? Are you a friend or a foe? Zhuan rubbed his forehead and said, We're neither enemies nor friends. I don't know what kind of relationship we have. The Pill Emperor Turtle glanced at Zhuan with a slightly speechless expression. After that, it looked towards Mayuja, who'd stopped at the north of the altar, and said, From the looks of it, he seems to be rather familiar with Death Valley. Why has he come to the altar? Zhuan shook his head and stared at Mayuja, who had stopped outside the altar's seal. To be honest, he knew too little about Mayuja. When he released Mayuja from the ice tower, he didn't get any information or background from Mayuja. Mayuja put his hands behind his back and turned his back to Zhuan. He seemed to be thinking about something. I didn't expect there to be a seal in Death Valley. I wonder what's inside the seal? Let me try to break it. Mayuja muttered to himself. His voice was not soft, so Zhuan and the Pill Emperor Turtle could hear him clearly. The Pill Emperor Turtle sneered. The 9,999 death candles were set up by its master, the Pill Emperor Flame. How could this fat man have the ability to break the seal? Of course, Mayuja naturally did not know that the Pill Emperor Turtle was secretly laughing at him. His gaze became solemn as he waved his sleeve and released several array flags. These array flags spread out and floated above the altar. They began to rotate rapidly. The altar was already surrounded by black flames, forming a black hemispherical light shield. It looked strange. The array flag rapidly rotated, and soon after, it released a dark blue energy ripple. It suddenly rushed out and blasted on the black flame round cover. Bang! The terrifying black flame swept out and instantly turned into a big mouth. It completely swallowed the array flags in the sky. The temperature of the black flame was terrifying. The moment the black flame swallowed the array flags, the terrifying black flame melted them into nothingness. Hee, what an ignorant fool. In the dark, the Pill Emperor Turtle sneered. Its eyes were full of pride. Ma Yujia shook his head and said in surprise, "It's really terrifying. Which almighty person set up this seal? It's so terrifying. It's useless for me to continue. It's better not to try anymore." Ma Yujia took dozens of steps back and avoided the black flame. He looked at the terrifying black flame in front of him in horror. "Let's go check out other places. This Death Valley is really strange." As Ma Yujia spoke, he left the altar and flew in another direction. Soon, his figure disappeared. After Ma Yujia left, Yuan and the Pill Emperor Turtle came out. Looking in the direction Ma Yujia left, Yuan muttered in a low voice, "This guy is a little suspicious." What's suspicious about him? However, it's really unusual that he could enter that path. It's just that he overestimated himself. He actually tried to break the defense of the death candle. He's simply courting death. The Pill Emperor Turtle mocked. Zhuowen frowned slightly but did not laugh. Instead, he repeatedly checked the surroundings of the altar. After confirming that there was nothing wrong, he was relieved. "Let's go to the place where the life and death pill is," Zhuowen said to the Pill Emperor Turtle. The Pill Emperor Turtle nodded and said, "Now, follow me." Not long after Zhuowen and the Pill Emperor Turtle left, a bloated figure slowly appeared from another place. Ma Yujia returned to the altar and looked in the direction Zhuowen and the Pill Emperor Turtle left. He narrowed his eyes and muttered to himself, "This one is really a big problem. Wherever I go, he will follow. That Lu Haotian wouldn't want this kid for no reason. This kid must have something important on him. When the time comes, I'll have to inquire about it." After saying that, Ma Yujia's gaze fell on the altar again and said with a smile, "The Pill Emperor Turtle is really a genius. Although his strength is not very strong, his means are extremely amazing. He can actually create such an evil creature like the Rakshasa King." Boom! Suddenly, black energy gushed out from the altar inside the black flame and transformed into an illusory head. "For you, did you just wake me up?" This illusory head was the Rakshasa King. Originally, the Rakshasa King was completely suppressed by the 9,999 death candle and fell into an unconscious state. Chapter 2393. Golden Horn Array Flags, Rakshasa King. "I see that you really want your freedom, don't you? You've been here for countless years. It must be hard for you, right?" Ma Yujia did not answer the Rakshasa King's question directly. Instead, he asked another question. The Rakshasa King said coldly, "You can try. You've been imprisoned here for countless years, and all you've done is make sarcastic remarks." Ma Yujia smiled and did not mind the Rakshasa King's tone. He continued, "I'll give you a chance to get out." The Rakshasa King did not believe him. He sneered, "These are 9,999 death candles. I spent countless years and barely managed to remove one of them. In the end, it was destroyed by that despicable human cultivator and the Pill Emperor Turtle. If you let me out, those two fellows will definitely kill me." Ma Yujia spread his hands and smiled subtly. "Of course, I'm not strong enough to break this seal, but you can. You're much stronger than me." The Rakshasa King sneered but did not say anything else. He felt that this bloated fatty in front of him was spouting nonsense and was too lazy to answer him. "Huh, looks like you don't believe me. But it's no wonder. You spent so much time and still didn't see the seal's weakness. You just blindly tried to remove the death candles. Serves you right for being trapped here." Zhuowen smiled faintly. You really have a way?" The Rakshasa King was interested. Ma Yujia did not say much. Instead, he waved his sleeve and immediately took out 12 array flags. The 12 array flags he took out this time were completely different from the ones before. They were completely golden like dazzling and scorching suns. The array flags were as thin as golden paper, but they were filled with an unbearable light. 12 golden horn array flags? The Rakshasa King looked at the 12 glittering array flags in surprise and muttered softly. Ma Yujia waved his sleeve, and immediately, the 12 golden array flags overlapped with each other. Golden energy gushed out, converging into a powerful golden stream that fiercely fell, heavily smashing onto the altar that was filled with black flames. The black flames naturally resisted without restraint. However, The golden stream was so powerful that it actually blasted a small gap in the black flames. Then, the golden stream quickly entered the black flames through the small gap. The golden stream that entered the black flames turned into 12 array flags again, and they were inserted in 12 directions around the altar. If one looked at it, one could see that the 12 array words, the 12 array flags, it's up to you whether you can escape or not. This is all I can help you with. Good luck. Ma Yujie glanced at the altar and the Rakshasa king, the altar, and the altar. On it, the Rakshasa king on is fire, the on the is. Nen. Hee, Pill Emperor Flame, I bet you didn't expect the seal you set up to have such a big flaw. After I break the seal, I'll kill that Pill Emperor Tortoise and that human cultivator, then I'll destroy your divine Pill secret realm. After that, I'll go out and kill all your Pill Emperor Flame bloodline. This is the abyss of hell? Zhuan stood in front of a huge pit that was hundreds of meters wide. He looked at the huge pit in front of him in shock. The huge pit was very deep and dark. If one looked carefully, they could see strange black flames burning in the depths of the abyss. Zhuan was no stranger to the aura of the black flames. It was the flame of the candle of death. It was a flame filled with the aura of death. Yes, the abyss of hell appears without any pattern. You must anticipate and take precautions in advance. Otherwise, you may not even know how you died. The Pill Emperor Turtle shook its head and said. Zhuan nodded. Along the way, a huge pit that was hundreds of meters wide suddenly appeared on the originally flat ground. Fortunately, the Pill Emperor Turtle reacted in time and immediately asked Zhuan to use the space-time wheel. In an instant, they left the hundreds of meters area, which allowed Zhuan to escape from the disaster. When the hundreds of meters wide hole first appeared, Zhuan couldn't move his body. His whole body trembled as if he had fallen into hell. If it weren't for the space-time wheel, Zhuan wouldn't have been able to leave the abyss of hell. Now, Zhuan finally knew why Death Valley was so dangerous and why even Void Sky 9 Steps experts could die here. It was all because of the unpredictable abyss of hell. Fortunately, the Pill Emperor Turtle was very familiar with Death Valley. Although it was difficult for him to know where the abyss of hell would appear, it could determine the location of the abyss of hell in advance. This ability to predict the abyss of hell provided Zhuan with a lot of protection while walking in Death Valley. In Death Valley, it was inevitable to encounter some other evil spirits. However, these evil spirits were basically unorganized and weren't controlled by Rakshasa King like before. Therefore, they didn't pose much of an obstacle to Zhu. Under the guidance of the Pill Emperor Turtle, Zhuan quickly arrived at the eastern edge of Death Valley. The life or death pill is about to appear here. I don't know the exact location, but when the life or death pill appears, I have a way to help you smoothly obtain it. Now, let's leave Death Valley first, said the Pill Emperor Turtle. After saying that, the Pill Emperor Turtle formed a seal with both hands. A complicated pattern appeared on its shell and was reflected in the black fog in front of them. Then the black fog scattered. Let's go, said the Pill Emperor Turtle. Zhuan took a step forward, grabbed the Pill Emperor Turtle, and rushed toward the path where the black fog appeared. Soon, they disappeared into the black fog. Not long after Zhuan and the Pill Emperor Turtle left, Ma Yujie also arrived at the place shrouded in black fog. He squatted on the ground, pinched the black soil under his feet, and said with a frown, "That Pill Emperor Turtle really knows about Death Valley. The life or death pill should appear here. However, this thing isn't very useful to me." After saying that, the corners of Ma Yujie's mouth curled into a strange smile, and he muttered in a low voice, "I will soon get what I want. This life or death pill will be slowly fought over by those ignorant people." After saying that, Ma Yujie didn't follow the path Zhuan took. Instead, he rushed in another direction of Death Valley and quickly disappeared. Zhuan opened up a cave on a small hill 1,000 miles away from Death Valley. He planned to wait here for the birth of the life or death pill. Chapter 2394. Gathering in Death Valley, the Pill Emperor Turtle sneered, "What's the use of life and death pill for me? Do you think I'll be able to raise my cultivation like you cultivators after taking the life and death pill? Let me tell you, I'm not a cultivator like you. As for what it is, When the life and death pill comes out, you'll know. That thing is even more precious than the life and death pill. But let me say this first, that thing is mine. You can't snatch it from me. Juan smiled and said, "Don't worry, I still have a bottom line. I only want the life and death pill. As for what you want, I won't touch it." In the following time, Juan basically cultivated in his cave. His cultivation had reached the peak of Void Sky 7th step by relying on many god pills. In the remaining time, he was basically consolidating his Void Sky 7th step peak stage. Moreover, because he had just reached the peak of Void Sky 7th step, his comprehension hadn't reached Void Sky 8th step, so he couldn't break through to Void Sky 8th step yet. Now, Juan had enough resources. The only thing he lacked was comprehension of Void Sky 8th step. Once he had enough comprehension, Juan would be able to soar into the sky and smoothly reach Void Sky 8th step. As time gradually passed, the monitoring formation Juan secretly placed outside discovered that more and more cultivators were gathering in Death Valley. Because of the opening of the Divine Pill secret realm, the rumor of the life and death pill was extremely widespread. Therefore, most of the cultivators who entered the Divine Pill secret realm came for the life and death pill. Among them, there were many old undyings who had been in seclusion for a long time. Most of these old undyings cultivations were stuck at half-step Void Sky 9th step. They were only half a step away from reaching Void Sky 9th step. These old undyings had lived for a very long time. Although their cultivation might not have increased, they were extremely experienced and their strength was extremely terrifying. In the images sent by the monitoring formation, Nguyen saw at least a dozen of these old undyings. Although these old undyings cultivations were the same as Quang Li's, they were much stronger. Strength and cultivation were two completely different concepts. The difference in cultivation was just a general comparison. Strength wasn't just a display of one's cultivation base. It depended on many aspects, such as powerful magic treasures, divine abilities, cultivation techniques, and so on. These old fogies had lived for a very long time, so they naturally had a lot of opportunities. They probably had a lot of trump cards on them, unlike Quang Li and the old man from Lushan Temple, whose strength was average. They were very difficult to deal with. Of course, these powerful half-step 9th ascension cultivators were only in the second tier of this group of people. The ones who were truly at the first level were still the two life-comprehending realm experts, LV Haoyan and Jing Yun. At this moment, Jing Yun was standing in front of Death Valley with the disciples of Desire Palace, Yao Xiangjuan and Zhu Ru. LV Haoyan, on the other hand, stood alone on the other side. Compared to Jing Yun, who was surrounded by many disciples, LV Haoyan seemed lonely. The two formed a sharp contrast. Of course, the reason why LV Haoyan was so lonely was because of Zhuan. The people that Lu Haoyan brought this time, including his own son, Lu Zhu, were all killed by Zhuan. The more LV Haoyan thought about this matter, the angrier he became. He wished he could kill Zhuan right now. Unfortunately, when he tried to deal with Zhuan, he let Zhuan escape again and again. Moreover, he also paid a corresponding price. Jing Yun narrowed her eyes and turned to look at LV Haoyan with a trace of surprise on her face. Although she was blind, her divine sense was very powerful, so she could perceive things much more clearly than others. When LV Haoyan arrived, she found that LV Haoyan had suffered a serious injury. Moreover, this injury was not an old one, but a new one. He should have suffered it when he entered the Divine Pill secret realm. But what Jing Yun did not understand was that in the Divine Pill secret realm, other than Death Valley, there was no threat to a life-comprehending realm expert like LV Haoyan. Brother LV, did you encounter some trouble in the Divine Pill secret realm? Anyway, waiting for the birth of the life or death pill was quite boring, so Jing Yun asked the doubts in her heart. Hearing Jing Yun's question, LV Haoyan's face suddenly became ugly. He could not help but think of Zhuan. He coldly snorted and said, "Palace Master Jing Yun, you don't need to care about my affairs. I accidentally injured myself, it's not a big deal." Palace Master Jing Yun was quite surprised. This LV Haoyan seemed to have something difficult to talk about. What was it that made LV Haoyan so embarrassed? On the other hand, there were quite a number of cultivators whispering in the crowd. Many people had clearly seen the scene of LV Haoyan chasing after Zhuo Wen and fighting with Luo Sha. Speaking of which, many people admired Zhu. He was obviously only at the 7th level of the Void Sky realm, but not only was he not afraid of a powerhouse like LV Haoyan, but he was also quick-witted and set up layers of traps, making LV Haoyan willingly fall into them. Senior sister, I heard those people talking about LV Haoyan's injury. It seems to be related to Zhuowen. In the group behind Jing Yun, Zhu Rui whispered to Yao Xiangjuan beside her. Yao Xiangjuan's beautiful eyes flickered, revealing a trace of excitement and worry, but she soon calmed down and said with a complicated expression, I really can't see through Zhuan. I didn't expect him to be able to make LV Haoyan like this. Zhu Rui also nodded repeatedly and said, I really misjudged him. I originally thought he was just an ordinary 7th level Void Sky cultivator. I didn't expect him to be so strong and crafty. Yao Xiangjuan pursed her lips and smiled, but did not continue the topic. Instead, she was in a daze, thinking, where is Zhuan now? Will he also come here to compete for the life or death pill? Paper can't wrap fire, and LV Haoyan's matter also spread widely among the crowd. Palace Master Jing Yun also learned that LV Haoyan was in such a sorry state because of Zhuan. In her heart, she became even more curious about Zhuan. It seems that Xiangjuan is right. Zhuan is really not an ordinary person. Palace Master Jing Yun secretly said in her heart. LV Haoyan coldly snorted and floated in the air, staring coldly at the crowd below. Suddenly, the noisy discussion quieted down. If you dare to slander this king again, believe it or not, I will destroy your families. That Zhuan used despicable means to sneak attack me. Do you think I deserve it? LV Haoyan said coldly, but what responded to him was a long silence. LV Haoyan waved his sleeve and landed again, but his eyes were fixed on the Death Valley in front of him. Why is brother LV so angry? We should work together to find the life or death pill. This is just a trivial matter, Palace Master Jing Yun said with a smile. LV Haoyan didn't dare to be rude to Palace Master Jing Yun. He nodded in agreement and said, Palace Master Jing Yun is right. We only know that the life or death pill will appear in Death Valley, but we don't know where it will appear or when it will appear. Can we just wait like this? Chapter 2395. The birth of the life or death pill. Palace Master Jing Yun's suggestion was immediately approved by LV Haoyan. The rest of the people also had no objections. Palace Master Jing Yun is right. We should spread out and search for it. The birth of the life or death pill won't be so simple. I also agree with Palace Master Jing Yun's suggestion. Death Valley covers a large area. How can we gather in one place with so many people? Everyone chimed in one after another. Of course, the reason why they agreed like this was naturally because they considered their own interests. The birth of the life or death pill would inevitably cause a lot of competition. Most of the people here were not strong enough. Needless to say, Palace Master Jing Yun and LV Haoyan were very strong. Just the dozen or so half-step Void Sky 9th stage old monsters alone were not something that most of the cultivators could contend against. When the time came, the competition would definitely be between the high-level experts. Most of the cultivators here would be reduced to cannon fodder. Now that the life or death pill had yet to appear and they didn't know where it would appear, it gave the cultivators a chance to search for it. Everyone had a wishful thinking. In this kind of situation, everyone had the same chance of finding the life or death pill. Now, they didn't have to rely on strength, but luck. While everyone was discussing, many cultivators impatiently rushed to other places in Death Valley. Obviously, they didn't want to stay here any longer. Since there was a first person, there was naturally a second. Soon, the cultivators gathered in the eastern periphery of Death Valley scattered and rushed to other places in Death Valley. They didn't know if it was because LV Haoyan and Palace Master Jing Yun were here, but most of the cultivators deliberately avoided this place. They all knew that if the life or death pill appeared here, LV Haoyan and Palace Master Jing Yun would be the first to make a move. At that time, they wouldn't have a chance. However, if it appeared in other places, they would have a chance. Therefore, most of the cultivators deliberately avoided LV Haotian and Palace Master Jing Yun. Even the dozen or so half-step Void Sky 9th stage cultivators did so intentionally or unintentionally. They were also very afraid of Palace Master Jing Yun and LV Haotian. Palace Master Jing Yun, I'll also go look for the life or death pill. LV Haotian cupped his fists towards Jing Yun and left. Let's also slowly search for it. The life or death pill should appear in the periphery of Death Valley. Palace Master Jing Yun also instructed the disciples behind her. Soon after, she led everyone to patrol around the periphery of Death Valley. Inside the cave, Zhuan looked at the pill monarch turtle and asked, "When will the life or death pill appear?" "Soon, in a few days. You don't need to rush out." The birth of life or death pill will cause a huge commotion in Death Valley. When that time comes, it will be very chaotic. You should wait patiently. Pill Emperor Turtle replied. Zhuan nodded and no longer paid attention to Death Valley. Instead, he sat cross-legged on the ground, preparing to wait for the birth of the life or death pill before acting according to the circumstances. 5 days later, the black mist on the surface of Death Valley suddenly churned violently, as if something was about to be released from within. It was accompanied by chilling roars, which sounded extremely strange and terrifying. The numerous cultivators who were originally searching for life-death pills in the periphery of Death Valley also noticed the abnormality in Death Valley, and their eyes were filled with astonishment. Rumble! Suddenly, in the east of Death Valley, the terrifying black mist turned into a black pillar and rushed into the sky. On the surface of the black pillar, countless black mists were swirling and churning like tornadoes. It looked extremely terrifying. Moreover, the crowd also discovered that a white mist had appeared in the black pillar without them noticing. Moreover, the white mist was increasing in number, and it seemed to be on par with the black mist. Soon, the black pillar turned into a black and white pillar. At the top of the black and white pillar, a divine pill the size of a pigeon's egg slowly emerged. This divine pill was black and white. One side was white, and the other side was black. The black and white pattern inside was very similar to the yin-yang fish in Taoism. Is this the life-death pill? In the cave, Tuan suddenly stood up. He withdrew the restriction formation of the cave and went to the entrance of the cave. He looked at the black and white pillar in the distance and the black and white divine pill floating at the top of the black and white pillar. Yes, this is the life-death pill. But I say, you can't act rashly now. Otherwise, you will only suffer losses. Pill Emperor Turtle said with a slightly mocking smile. What do you mean? Zhuan asked in surprise. You will know when you see it, Pill Emperor Turtle said as he pointed at the black and white pillar in the distance. Zhuan looked in the direction that Pill Emperor Turtle was pointing at. He saw that beside the black and white pillar, many cultivators who were close to it were rushing madly toward the top of the black and white pillar. However, the moment these cultivators got close to the black and white pillar, their bodies suddenly stiffened. Then, they were completely torn into pieces by the terrifying tearing force of the black and white pillar. The cultivators who had arrived late also planned to rush over. However, when they saw what was happening in front of them, they immediately stopped and looked at everything in horror. There is a very powerful force around the life-death pill. Zhuowen's pupils shrank and he couldn't help but say. Just now, those cultivators who were close to the black and white pillars were all inexplicably torn into pieces. Even Zhuowen did not sense it. That is the life and death force emitted from the surface of the life-death pill. This life and death force is much weaker than the life and death divine force of an expert at the life enlightenment stage, but it is comparable to the mysterious life divine force of an expert at the life enlightenment stage. Cultivators who are not strong enough will simply be cannon fodder. Pill Emperor Turtle sneered and continued, also, what kind of treasure is the life-death pill? It is not so easy to obtain. Zhuan, you don't need to rush out now. You just need to stay here and watch the show. When it is time to attack, I will remind you. Zhuan didn't speak. He looked deeply at the life-death pill floating on the black and white pillar in the distance and just nodded. The surging aura of the life-death pill had completely spread throughout the Death Valley. For a moment, it aroused the greed of countless evil spirits in the Death Valley. They all longed to obtain the life-death pill and obtain a new life. As a result, the evil spirits wandering aimlessly in the Death Valley rushed toward the east side of the Death Valley. None of them were afraid of death. Due to the appearance of the life-death pill, the gap in the east side of the Death Valley was opened. Those evil spirits rushed out of the Death Valley unimpeded. What are these things? Why are there so many of them? No, these are not humans. There are too many of them. Save me. No, these things can't be killed. Chapter 2396. Evil Spirit Army. In an instant, the evil spirit army began to fight with the cultivators gathered outside Death Valley. For a time, the sounds of fighting were like thunder, constantly resounding outside Death Valley. Zhuowen narrowed his eyes as he looked at the countless evil spirits rushing out. He hadn't expected that the birth of the life or death pill would attract so many evil spirits. Moreover, it had even opened a gap in the eastern Death Valley. Death Valley was very large, and the number of evil spirits in it was extremely terrifying. The evil spirits Zhuowen encountered in order to enter the altar in the core area were terrifying enough, but that was only a small part of the evil spirits in Death Valley. This time, the birth of the life or death pill triggered an even larger tide of evil spirits. One must know that Zhuowen's original route was the safest, but now, the life or death pill had summoned all the evil spirits in the eastern part of Death Valley. Zhuowen shook his head. He knew that most of the cultivators around Death Valley were going to suffer. The evil spirits weren't weak, and there were even more terrifying evil spirits among them. Coupled with such a large number of evil spirits, the cultivators gathered in Death Valley couldn't stop them at all. Sure enough, the battle between the evil spirits and the cultivators only lasted for half an hour, and the cultivators couldn't stand the increasing evil spirit army in front of them. They all took out their respective flying divine tools and fled this place. Although the life or death pill was precious, compared to their lives, the latter was naturally more important. Brother Lu, let's work together. Otherwise, none of us will get the life or death pill. Palace Master Jing Yun waved her jade-like hand, and a bright red flower appeared from her spirit ring. This red flower wrapped Yao Xiangjuan and the other disciples of the Desire Palace, and then it was taken into the palm of Palace Master Jing Yun. Now that Death Valley was in danger, Palace Master Jing Yun naturally didn't dare to let her disciples take risks outside. Not far away, Lu Haoyan, who was repelling many evil spirits, also heard Palace Master Jing Yun's proposal. He thought for a moment and nodded. These evil spirits won't affect the two of us much. It's mainly the life and death force around the life or death pill that can only be broken by you and me working together. Palace Mistress Jing Yun nodded. Although there were many evil spirits, she and Lu Haoyan were both life-comprehending realm experts. Their life force was as vigorous as the stars in the sky. These evil spirits had no special power to kill them. Of course, it was very difficult for cultivators below the 9th step of the Void Sky stage to injure a supreme expert at the life comprehension stage, because the vitality within the body of a life comprehension stage expert was far beyond the imagination of all cultivators. Back then, the reason why Zhuowen was able to injure Lu Haoyan was because of his space-time spirit technique. The powerful space-time divine ability was enough to threaten life comprehension realm powerhouses. If Zhuowen's cultivation was the same as Lu Haoyan's at the life enlightening realm, then just by relying on this spirit technique, Zhuowen would be able to kill Lu Haoyan in one move. Make your move! She stomped her foot and countless petals drifted down from her feet. These petals contained Palace Mistress Jing Yun's powerful mysterious life force. Any evil spirit that wanted to jump up and attack her was basically blasted to smithereens the moment they touched the petals. Lu Haoyan didn't dare to be careless. He took out his purple halberd and kicked the end of the halberd with his right foot. Suddenly, the purple halberd turned into a purple light and quickly swept towards the black and white pillar. Lu Haoyan turned into a stream of light and followed closely behind the purple halberd. Wherever he passed, the evil spirits were all smashed to smithereens by the sharp edge of the purple halberd. After a while, Lu Haoyan and Palace Mistress Jing Yun arrived in front of the black and white pillar. The moment Lu Haoyan and Palace Mistress Jingyun arrived at the black and white pillar, the 12 half-step Void Sky 9th step Old Undyings reached an agreement and joined forces to compete for the life or death pill with Lu Haoyan and Palace Mistress Jingyun. We must join forces. Fellow Taoists are all rare geniuses. All of you have cultivated to the peak of the Void Sky 9th step and have already touched the threshold of the life-comprehending realm. None of you are ordinary half-step Void Sky 9th step experts. If we join forces, we might not be weaker than Lu Haoyan and Palace Mistress Jingyun. Among the 12 people, a red-clothed old man said to the others with a sharp gaze. The red-clothed old man was called the Begonia Old Man, and he had the highest prestige among the dozen or so people. This was because the Begonia Old Man was the expert closest to the life-comprehending realm. Moreover, this Begonia Old Man had many trump cards, and he was also proficient in the Chimen Duanjia technique. Most importantly, the Begonia Old Man had once fought with a life-comprehending realm expert. Although he was defeated, he relied on his powerful trump cards to forcibly escape from the life-comprehending realm expert's sure kill attack. The Begonia Old Man is right. We must join forces. Otherwise, the life or death pill will definitely be snatched by Lu Haoyan and Palace Mistress Jingyun. At that time, it will be like drawing water with a bamboo basket. A black-clothed man echoed. With 2 people taking the lead, the other 10 people nodded. None of them could compete with Lu Haoyan and Palace Mistress Jingyun. However, if they joined forces, they might have a chance. Let's go! Let's go! The Begonia Old Man said. Then he led the other 11 people to ride the wind and break the waves. They exterminated countless evil spirits and arrived in front of the black and white pillars. Lu Haoyan and Palace Mistress Jingyun naturally saw the Begonia Old Man and the other 12 people. Their eyes revealed a dignified expression. They didn't put any of the 12 people in their eyes. However, if they joined forces, they had no choice but to take them seriously. Begonia Old Man, you better not attack us. Otherwise, none of us will get the life or death pill. Lu Haoyan turned his head and said to the Begonia Old Man and the others. The 12 people stopped. Among them, the Begonia Old Man said coldly, Lu Haoyan, what do you mean by this? Feel it yourself. Lu Haoyan pointed at the black and white pillars in front of him helplessly. The Begonia Old Man took a step forward and came in front of the black and white pillars with doubts. He stretched out his right hand, but it was immediately repelled by a force. Not only is there the life or death force, but there is also a powerful seal. This seal is very powerful. The Begonia Old Man took a few steps back and forcibly suppressed the surging blood in his body. If you want to get the life or death pill, the first step is to break this seal. Otherwise, everything will be in vain. Palace Mistress Jingyun said coldly. You mean we should join forces? The Begonia Old Man asked in a deep voice. Palace Mistress Jingyun said indifferently, Otherwise, what do you think we can do? After we get rid of this seal, the ownership of the life or death pill will depend on our own abilities. The Begonia Old Man fell into silence. After a while, he said in a deep voice, Okay, we can join forces with you to break this seal. The Begonia Old Man knew that this was indeed the only way. If they started to fight among themselves before they even saw the life or death pill, then no one would have the chance to get the life or death pill. You all join forces and focus on breaking the seal. I will take care of the evil spirits behind. The black-clothed man on the Begonia Old Man's side volunteered once again. Then I will trouble you. Palace Mistress Jingyun nodded. Chapter 2397. Snatching the life and death pill. Everyone, don't hold back. Let's attack together. After L.V. Haoyan finished speaking, the purple halberd in his hand suddenly blasted out. A terrifying purple energy spread out and smashed onto the seal as if it could shatter the stars. Palace Master Jingyun followed closely behind. She formed a seal with her jade-like hands and pointed at the air. Then, the red energy turned into a huge flower tree. As soon as the flower tree appeared, countless petals fell down. The petals grew more and more and turned into a sea of flowers. The terrifying sea of flowers was like a red flood that suddenly burst out and blasted onto the seal. The moment LV Haoyan and Palace Master Jing Yun attacked, Elder Haitang and the others also attacked without holding back. The terrifying attacks blasted onto the seal, causing it to shake violently. The surface of the black and white pillar was even more distorted under the terrifying power. The explosive force spread out and radiated in all directions. Wherever it passed, many evil spirits directly exploded, dying as they could not be more dead. However, there were too many evil spirits. Although many of them died, there were still more evil spirits coming from behind. This increased the pressure on the black-clothed man. The black-clothed man was not an ordinary person. Although it was difficult for him to resist, he still managed to hold on and keep the evil spirits outside. Boom! Boom! The sounds of explosions continued to ring out. Every time there was an explosion, a terrifying wave of energy ripples would spread out. Crack! Finally, a cracking sound came from the restriction on the surface of the black and white pillar. Cracks began to appear on the surface of the black and white pillar, and the cracks became denser and denser as they spread out. Seeing the cracks on the seal, Palace Master Jing Yun and the others were all shaken. They all worked hard to release their energy, hoping to shatter the seal as soon as possible. Finally, the seal on the surface of the black and white pillar was completely shattered into pieces. Boom! The moment the restriction shattered, the terrifying power of life and death blasted over mercilessly like a flood from a dam. Palace Master Jing Yun, LV Haoyan, and the others did not expect such a change to occur when the seal was shattered. They were all involuntarily hit. The 13 of them suddenly retreated hundreds of steps. The blood in their bodies was roiling. Among them, Elder Haitang and the others with weaker cultivations spat out a mouthful of blood and looked dispirited. Palace Master Jing Yun and LV Haoyan were better. Palace Master Jing Yun only looked pale. LV Haoyan, on the other hand, had suffered serious injuries because of Zhuan. He had not fully recovered yet. Now, LV Haoyan, who was caught off guard by the life and death energy, his injuries were more serious than before. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. The moment all of them retreated, the moment the life and death pills life and death energy was released, a figure suddenly leaped out from the countless evil spirits. Son of the sea. A clear and melodious voice rang out. Then, the surrounding tens of thousands of miles of space turned into a vast ocean. At the end of this ocean, a waning sun rose. When the figure leaped up, the broken sun rose as well. A terrifying space-time force spread out like a bomb, exploding continuously. The evil spirits in the surroundings were all blown to pieces by the power of the sun. As for LV Haoyan, Palace Master Jing Yun, and Elder Begonia, who were originally retreating, their bodies stiffened the moment the sun rose. They could only desperately urge the divine power in their bodies to resist the strange and terrifying power that descended from the sun. When you little bastard, LV Haoyan immediately recognized the identity of the figure when he saw the sun. However, he had just been blasted back by the life and death energy and had not recovered yet. He was in his weakest state. Moreover, he was blasted by the power of the sun. He could only barely hold on. However, LV Haoyan knew that as long as he could survive this moment, the mysterious life-divine power in his body would be restored to its peak. At that time, it would be the death of this little bastard. LV Haoyan, do you think I don't know your plan? I'm afraid I'll disappoint you. Just as LV Haoyan was calculating in his heart, Zhuowen's voice suddenly came from above his head. LV Haoyan couldn't help but raise his head. Immediately, he saw Zhuowen standing above his head and then ruthlessly stomping on his face with the sole of his foot. Palace Master Jing Yun, Elder Haitang, and the others also reacted. They were stunned to see a young man in white raise his foot and ruthlessly stomp on LV Haoyan's face. As the saying goes, hit someone but don't hit the face. Now, not only did Zhuowen hit him, but he also ruthlessly stomped on him. This was a great insult to LV Haoyan. LV Haoyan roared towards the sky. At this moment, his mysterious life-divine power had been completely restored. He wanted to completely destroy this little bastard. Zhuowen took advantage of the moment when he stepped on LV Haoyan's cheek to suddenly jump. Just as LV Haoyan began to reach out to attack Zhuowen, Zhuan leaped into the air and coldly looked at LV Haoyan, who reached out to grab him. He bent his right hand and pointed down. Suddenly, the sunset, which had risen to its peak, fell down at an extremely fast speed. It brushed past Yuan and heavily slammed into LV Haoyan's body. How could Lu Haoyan have thought that Zhuowen would have such a move? His body was directly hit by Sundered Sun, and his extended right hand was smashed into a distorted shape. His whole body fell to the ground in a sorry state, creating an endless pit on the ground. Stop him! Palace Master Jing Yun didn't have time to care about LV Haoyan. She took a step forward and rushed toward Zhuan. Elder Haitang and the others were naturally not to be outdone. They attacked Zhuan one after another, hoping to stop Zhuan. Unfortunately, Zhuan had already taken out the space-time wheel and stepped on it. He disappeared as if he had teleported. When he reappeared, he was already above the life or death pellet. Take the life or death pellet quickly. The Pill Emperor Turtle, who was lying on Zhuowen's shoulder, quickly said. There was no need for the Pill Emperor Turtle to say anything. Zhuowen already knew. He stretched out his right hand, grabbed the life or death pellet, and put it into his spirit ring. Now, take 3 steps back and stop. Don't run. The Pill Emperor Turtle said again. Zhuowen's eyes revealed a puzzled look, but he still subconsciously did as he was told. When Zhuan stopped, Palace Master Jing Yun, Elder Haitang, and the other 13 people had already rushed over. They were only a few centimeters away from Zhuan. However, the moment they were about to reach out to grab Zhuan, a huge shadow rushed out from the black and white pillar below and smashed into their bodies. Pucci. The 13 people didn't expect that something would come out from the black and white pillar. They were all smashed and sent flying, their faces pale. Zhuowen happened to take 3 steps back, avoiding the trajectory of the black shadow's ascent. Chapter 2398. Skipped. This black shadow was a huge pill furnace. It was as black as ink, sparkling and translucent as if it was carved out of jade. Moreover, the reason why Zhuowen was so shocked was mainly because the shape of this pill furnace was almost exactly the same as the shape of the pill fire in the pill tower. Zhuowen wanted to ask the Pill Emperor Turtle about it, but the turtle's eyes lit up the moment it saw the cauldron. It jumped up and landed on top of the cauldron. The pill furnace was sealed, but the Pill Emperor Turtle moved to the bottom of the pill furnace as if it was familiar with it. Then it jumped into the pill furnace. Not long after, the huge pill furnace automatically shrank to the size of a palm. Soon after, it slowly landed on Zhuowen's palm. Hurry up and take us away. Otherwise, you won't be able to escape. The Pill Emperor Turtle transmitted its voice. Zhuan was startled, and his face turned ugly when he saw Palace Master Jing Yun and the others rushing over. Was the Pill Emperor Turtle treating him as an errand boy? However, no matter how unhappy Zhuan was, he didn't dare to act recklessly at this moment. He wasn't a match for Palace Master Jing Yun, and there were 12 powerful half-step virtual sky 9th steps experts. He knew that once he was surrounded, he wouldn't be able to escape. Thinking of this, Zhuowen immediately took out the space-time wheel, and his whole body turned into an afterimage, disappearing from the spot. When Palace Master Jing Yun and the others arrived, Zhuowen had already disappeared without a trace. The space-time wheel's speed was too fast. Even a Life Enlightenment Realm expert like Palace Master Jing Yun couldn't catch up. Damn it, who is this kid? A mere virtual sky 7-step ant dares to snatch the life or death pill from our hands. The crabapple old man's eyes were gloomy, and he was unwilling to accept this. If I'm not wrong, he should be Zhuan. The black-robed man beside the crabapple old man said indifferently. The Zhuan who killed Lu Shenhal's group? The crabapple old man asked in surprise. The black-clothed man nodded noncommittally and didn't say much. Instead, it was the crabapple old man who revealed a contemplative expression. In fact, when they discovered that Zhuowen's cultivation was only at the Void Sky 7th step, they had already guessed it. Now that it was confirmed, they began to think even further. This Zhuowen's cultivation was not high, but he was able to snatch the life or death pill from their hands and even escape. This showed that he was not ordinary. If such an existence was allowed to continue growing, it would definitely be extremely terrifying. It was best not to develop this kind of person into an enemy. Otherwise, there would be endless trouble in the future. Unless you could nip this kind of monstrous genius in the bud, it would be a very wrong decision to make him your enemy. Humph, how could a mere 7 steps void sky brat obtain something as important as the life or death pill? No matter how heaven-defying this little demon is, I will not let go of this life or death pill, the old man said coldly. The black-clothed man glanced at the crabapple old man. In fact, his words just now were to remind the old man. At the same time, he also wanted to ask for the old man's opinion, indicating that he was actually following him. With the old man and the black-clothed man's statements, the other 10 half-step void sky 9th-step cultivators also expressed their agreement. Palace Master Jing Yun's beautiful eyes flickered, but she didn't interrupt. Instead, she said indifferently, "This place is not safe. I will leave first." After saying that, Palace Master Jing Yun turned into an afterimage and left this area filled with evil spirits. Boom! In the huge pit below, countless evil spirits had invaded and filled it. Suddenly, a terrifying energy erupted, and all the evil spirits in the deep pit were blown to pieces. A miserable figure suddenly jumped out. This figure was none other than Lu Haotian, who had been blasted down by Zhuowen's sun-waning Sunday. At this moment, Lu Haotian was in an extremely sorry state. His whole body was in a mess, and his face was extremely pale. "Where is that little bastard Zhuowen? Where is he?" Lu Haotian said, somewhat losing his mind. The old man and the black-clothed man glanced at Lu Haotian, then smiled at each other. The old man went up and said, "Palace Master Lu, that Tun has a very powerful flying divine tool. He has already escaped." "Where did he go?" Lu Haotian said coldly. The old man frowned slightly, revealing a trace of displeasure. Soon after, he pointed in the direction Zhuowen left and said, "He fled in that direction." Lu Haotian nodded and took a step forward with his right foot. He disappeared from where he was and rushed in the direction Zhuowen left. The crabapple old man and the others looked at each other in dismay and tacitly followed behind Lv Haotian. However, not long after Lu Haotian and the others left, the evil spirits in the eastern part of Death Valley suddenly became restless. In the emotionless eyes of these evil spirits, the light of fear suddenly burst forth, as if something terrifying had happened. Then, the tide-like evil spirits retreated to the eastern part of Death Valley, as if something was summoning them. The many cultivators who were struggling to confront the evil spirits all sighed in relief when they found that the evil spirits had retreated. They felt much more relaxed, but there was also a trace of doubt. In front of the army of evil spirits, these cultivators were almost completely defeated. If this continued, the cultivators would be wiped out sooner or later. But now, the army of evil spirits gave up on such a good situation and chose to retreat. Obviously, these cultivators were puzzled. After the army of evil spirits retreated, the gap in the eastern part of Death Valley was once again shrouded in thick black fog, as if nothing had happened. "Let's go!" The other cultivators who were lucky enough to survive all fled. Soon, the strange Death Valley regained its calm. After a while, a slightly fat figure slowly appeared in the originally quiet eastern part of Death Valley. This was a fat man with a fat body. His round face made him look rather comical. After walking out of Death Valley, the fat man looked back at the black fog lingering in Death Valley behind him and said with a smile, "I hope that guy doesn't disappoint me. If he still can't get out with my help, then he's really a piece of trash." After saying that, the fat man quietly left. "Kid, you stepped on Lu Haotian's face. I'm afraid he won't let you go." Xiao He clicked his tongue in wonder as the thunder fire sword circled around Chun. Zhuowen smiled faintly and said, "Even if I don't step on that old guy's face, we're still enemies." Chapter 2399. Hide, I'm afraid I'll have to ask that turtle. Zhuowen was also puzzled. Since the Pill Emperor turtle had entered the furnace, it hadn't uttered a single word. Although Zhuowen wanted to ask, since the Pill Emperor turtle didn't make a sound, he knew that it wasn't the right time to ask. Now, he had to find a secluded place to hide. The news that the life or death pill was in his hands would soon spread. There were many cultivators entering the divine pill's secret realm this time, and Juan knew that if he didn't hide, he would be easily attacked by a group of cultivators, which wasn't a good thing for him. After finding a secluded valley, Juan opened up an immortal cave that was hard to detect. Outside the immortal cave, he laid down layers of restrictions before entering the immortal cave. While Juan was waiting for the Pill Emperor Turtle to wake up in the immortal cave, the cultivators in the divine Pill's secret realm were in an uproar. The cultivators who went to the Death Valley last time were only a portion of the cultivators. There were also some who didn't go to the Death Valley because they were slow to get the news, or because they were delayed in finding a treasure land. When the surviving cultivators came back and found out that the life or death pill they brought back was taken away by a seventh-step Void Sky cultivator, it naturally caused an uproar. If it was a life-comprehending expert like LV Haotian or Palace Master Jing Yun who took the life or death pill, these cultivators wouldn't be in such an uproar. However, the person who had obtained the life or death pill was only an unknown vagrant cultivator at the seventh step of the Void Sky realm. Thus, this matter had become different. Perhaps it could be said that many cultivators were eager to find Zhuowen and obtain the life or death pill from him. For a moment, all the cultivators in the divine pill's secret realm began to search for Zhun. If Zhuowen went out now, he would be recognized very quickly and would be besieged. After all, the video of Zhuowen snatching the life and death pill had spread like wildfire in the secret realm. Almost everyone recognized Zhuowen and his aura. In a remote desert, a beautiful figure slowly landed on a dilapidated ancient building. This beautiful figure had her eyes slightly closed. Her skin was fair, and she wore a light veil on her face. Her true face was faintly discernible. Wasn't she the Palace Master of Desire Palace, Jing Yun? Palace Master Jing Yun stopped behind the ancient building. With a wave of her sleeve, she took out a bright flower. The flower floated in the air and gradually enlarged. Then it bloomed. In the center of the flower, beautiful figures appeared. They all landed on the ground. They were the disciples of the Desire Palace that Palace Master Jing Yun had taken away. Master, did you get the life and death pill? A disciple of the Desire Palace came to the front of Palace Master Jing Yun and asked with cupped fists. Yao Xiangjuan and Zhu Rui, who were among the disciples, also looked at Palace Master Jing Yun with interest. In their opinion, only Palace Master Jing Yun and Lu Haotian were qualified to obtain the life and death pill. However, Lu Haotian had suffered heavy injuries, so they felt that Palace Master Jing Yun had the highest chance of obtaining the life or death pill. Unexpectedly, Palace Mistress Jing Yun shook her head. This caused Yao Xiangjuan and the others to be surprised. Martial Ant, did Lu Haotian take it? Yao Xiangjuan asked. Palace Master Jing Yun still shook her head. She looked at Yao Xiangjuan and said, Lu Haotian didn't get it. The one who really got the life and death pill was Jun. He snatched it from our hands. That boy is very bold. Yao Xiangjuan's body shook, and her beautiful eyes revealed a trace of shock. Although she always knew that Zhuowen was very strong, she didn't expect that Zhuowen could snatch the life and death pill from two life comprehension experts. Moreover, he succeeded. In the Six Desires heavenly domain, there was probably no one below the life comprehension realm who could accomplish such a feat. Moreover, Zhuowen was only a cultivator of the Void Sky seventh step. It's actually Zhuowen. How is this possible? Zhu Rui was so shocked that she couldn't close her mouth. It could be said that Zhu Rui had seen Zhuowen's rise again and again. Since the beginning, Zhu Rui had found that the rogue cultivator who was only a little stronger than her in her eyes had become more and more powerful. Now, Zhuowen had actually snatched the life and death pill from a life comprehension expert like Palace Master Jing Yun, and he had even succeeded. If Palace Master Jing Yun hadn't told her this personally, she would have thought that someone else had made it up. Let's go. The closing time of the Divine Pill's secret realm is not fixed, but it won't be too long. Use this time to gain experience here. Maybe you can find your own opportunities. Palace Master Jing Yun waved her sleeve, and suddenly, petals flew out and fell on Yao Xiangjuan and the others. This is my communication talisman. If you are in danger, break this talisman, and I will immediately appear by your side. The Divine Pill's secret realm is a place of opportunities. If I stay by your side all the time, I will only hinder your development. You can go now. After Palace Master Jing Yun finished speaking, more than a dozen disciples of the Desire Palace bowed respectfully to the former. Immediately, they left with Palace Master Jing Yun's message talisman and headed in other directions to find their own opportunities. Yao Xiangjuan and Zhu Rui were still standing in the same place. Zhu Rui actually wanted to leave, but when she saw that Yao Xiangjuan didn't leave, she could only calm down and wait. Xiangjuan, do you have something to ask? Palace Master Jing Yun slightly closed her eyes and smiled at Yao Xiangjuan. Yao Xiangjuan's beautiful eyes flickered, and then she gritted her teeth and said, Martial Aunt, I want to ask where Zhuowen went later. Palace Master Jing Yun shook her head and said, You should be familiar with Zhuowen, right? He has a very powerful flying divine artifact on him. That flying divine artifact is so fast that even I can't catch up to it. So, I don't know where he went. Martial Aunt, are you going to find Zhuowen? Yao Xiangjuan asked again. Palace Master Jing Yun calmly said, All the cultivators in the Divine Pill secret realm know that the life or death pill is with Zhuowen. Since others are looking for Zhuowen, why can't I? Moreover, I won't let go of the life or death pill. Yao Xiangjuan fell silent, and then she cupped her fists towards Palace Master Jing Yun and left with Zhu Rui. Palace Master Jing Yun silently looked at Yao Xiangjuan's back as she left and murmured in a low voice, I'm afraid that Xiangjuan is a little emotional. If there is a chance, it's better to eliminate Zhuowen. Otherwise, it will affect Xiangjuan's future. 2 months later, in the cave, the alchemy furnace in front of Zhuowen finally moved. A golden flame emerged from the alchemy furnace, but this golden flame was extremely weak, and it even looked insignificant. Moreover, it only appeared for a short while before it was extinguished. Then, 4 hooves slowly stretched out from the ground of the alchemy furnace. These hooves were the hooves of a tortoise, and a furtive head stretched out in front of the alchemy furnace. When the head stretched out, the 4 hooves stood up, and the alchemy furnace that was originally sitting on the ground rose up, as if the alchemy furnace had become the tortoise's shell. Chapter 2400. Emperor Pill Furnace. The Pill Emperor Turtle chuckled and said, Don't you know? This pill furnace is called the Emperor Pill Furnace. It was originally Master Turtle's shell, but because of various reasons, my Emperor Pill Furnace has been used by my master to store the life or death pill. After the birth of the life or death pill, the Emperor Pill Furnace naturally returned to its original owner, which means it returned to me. Saying so, the Pill Emperor Turtle proudly shook the huge pill furnace on its back, and the complacency in its eyes was obvious. What's the use of your Emperor Pill Furnace? Zhuowen asked, a little amused. Use? There are many uses. With this Emperor Pill Furnace, I can grasp the location of all the divine pills in the Divine Pill secret realm. Moreover, I can rely on this Emperor Pill Furnace to avoid or break through many dangerous places. I can even dissolve low-grade divine pills and evolve them into high-grade divine pills. The Pill Emperor Turtle chuckled. Zhuowen looked at the pill furnace on the Pill Emperor Turtle's back and thought of the pill fire in the Pill Pagoda. Pill Emperor Turtle, outside the Divine Pill secret realm, there is a Pill Pagoda. Inside the Pill Pagoda, there is a kind of pill fire, and the shape of the pill fire is exactly the same as your pill furnace. Is that pill fire related to you? Zhuowen asked curiously. The Pill Emperor Turtle looked surprised and said, Alchemy fire? This is the first time I've heard of it, and I'm not too sure. Maybe it's related to my master. My intelligence was born relatively late, so I'm not particularly clear about many things. Hearing this, Zhuowen nodded. Although the Pill Emperor Turtle knew nothing about pill fire, he knew that the pill fire should be closely related to the Emperor Pill Furnace and the Emperor Pill Fire. Of course, Zhuowen still didn't know what the relationship was. Since your Emperor Pill Furnace is so useful, can you fuse all the divine pills I have into one and help me advance to the 8 steps Void Sky realm? With a wave of his sleeve, Zhuowen took out all the divine pills he had obtained from the cave guarded by Rakshasa and placed them in front of the Pill Emperor Turtle. His eyes were full of hope. The Pill Emperor Turtle glanced at Zhuowen and ignored the numerous divine pills that Zhuowen had taken out. You've just advanced to the peak of the 7 steps Void Sky realm. Even if I fuse all the divine pills together and make them strong enough to rival a level 9 divine pill, you still won't be able to advance to the 8 steps Void Sky realm. Moreover, it's very likely your foundation will be damaged level 9 divine 9 steps Void Sky realm, the Emperor Turtle solemnly said. Zhuan was indeed a dragon god, was immortal Pill Emperor Turtle realm Pill Emperor Turtle. This made Zhuan thirst for power even more. Emperor Pill was realm. Emperor God. Now, the Pill Emperor Turtle's words were like a wake-up call. Zhuan cupped his fists and thanked the Pill Emperor Turtle. The Pill Monarch Turtle waved his hand and said, I can help you fuse these divine pills together. You should know that the divine pills refined in the Pill Monarch Cauldron are incomparably pure. There are almost no impurities. However, I will refine 10 fused divine pills according to your current condition. The effects won't be too strong. You just have to take them every once in a while. They will only be beneficial to your body. Moreover, they can strengthen your cultivation and bring you closer to the 8 steps Void Sky realm. Zhuowen's eyes lit up. Then I'll leave it to you. The Pill Emperor Turtle chuckled and waved his little hand. Instantly, the divine pills Zhuowen took out flew over and revolved around the Pill Emperor Turtle. Then, the Alchemy Emperor Turtle roared, and the Alchemy Emperor Furnace on its back spewed out a fierce golden flame. Like a big mouth, the flame engulfed all the divine elixirs and put them into the Alchemy Emperor Furnace. It will take some time to fuse these divine pills. You can go do it yourself. After the Pill Emperor Turtle finished speaking, it slowly closed its eyes and shrank back into the Pill Emperor Furnace. The Pill Emperor Furnace also became sparse and ordinary. It sat quietly in the same place. Only the golden flames inside the furnace seemed to indicate that this furnace was unusual. Zhuan sat back down on the praying mat and closed his eyes to meditate. Time flew, and another month passed. The temperature in the cave house rose to an extremely terrifying level. Zhuan, who was sitting cross-legged on the praying mat, couldn't stand it anymore. He stood up and looked at the Pill Emperor Furnace seriously. Since the Pill Emperor Furnace began fusing divine pills a month ago, the heat it emitted became more and more terrifying. Until now, the temperature in the cave house had reached an extremely terrifying level. Even Zhuowen couldn't bear it. What is this guy doing? Zhuowen whispered with a frown. Suddenly, the Pill Emperor Furnace, which had been quiet, trembled. Immediately, Zhuowen's pupils shrank as he found that a terrifying flame had erupted from the inside of the Pill Emperor Furnace. This flame was like a fire dragon, spiraling up and filling the entire cave house in an instant. The moment Zhuowen realized that something was wrong, he waved his sleeve and quickly unlocked the restriction at the entrance of the cave house. He wanted to escape from the cave house. But he soon found that this speed was too slow. It was too late. Helpless, he took out the phagocytosis and poured his divine power into the phagocytosis. After the phagocytosis expanded to cover all the blind spots of the whole body, the flames suddenly spewed out. Rumble! The flames were extremely terrifying. In an instant, the surrounding valleys began to shake as if the mountains were collapsing. Then, countless cracks appeared in the surrounding valleys, and they turned into ruins in an instant. Bang! A figure rushed out of the ruins in an extremely sorry state. In front of him was a huge black jade seal. Zhuowen looked at the ruins below and cursed in a low voice, "What the hell is this Pill Emperor Turtle doing?" As soon as he finished speaking, the Pill Emperor Turtle came out with the Pill Emperor Turtle. The Pill Emperor Turtle immediately felt a murderous intent. It raised its head guiltily and met Zhuowen's unfriendly gaze. It coughed dryly and said, "Hee, it was a mistake. It was my first time fusing with the divine pill, so I made some mistakes. But it won't happen again. Here are 10 fused divine pills, take them." Zhuowen looked at the divine pill in his palm, and his complexion improved slightly. That person looks so familiar. Could it be Zhuowen? Dressed in white and with a black jade seal. Who else could it be other than Zhuowen? Let's go, let's hurry up and inform the others. After Zhuowen was forced out of the cave house because of the Pill Emperor Turtle, he immediately attracted the attention of the other cultivators near the valley. The moment these cultivators recognized Zhuowen, They secretly sent messages to the cultivators they knew, but they did not alert the enemy. Chapter 24:01. Encirclement and suppression. There were 3 cultivators around the valley that Tun was in. Their cultivations were not high, only around the 3rd level of the Void Sky realm. When the 3 of them sent out the message, it also attracted Zhuowen's attention. However, these 3 cultivators were quite far away from Zhuowen, and their cultivations were not high, so Zhuowen did not pay much attention to them. I'm afraid I can't use this cave anymore. Zhuowen looked at the Pill Emperor Turtle beside him, speechless. This guy was as unreliable as Xiao He. Bringing the Pill Emperor Turtle with him, Zhuowen flew in another direction. He planned to find a secluded place to cultivate. However, not long after Zhuowen flew out, he immediately realized that something was wrong. Because on his way, more and more cultivators gathered around him. Although these cultivators seemed to be searching for something, Zhuowen was keenly aware that these cultivators were intentionally or unintentionally casting their consciousness on him. Zhuowen coldly snorted, and his terrifying consciousness spread out. As long as there were cultivators who dared to cast their consciousness on him, Zhuowen would fiercely retaliate. For a moment, many of the surrounding cultivators were clutching their heads, baring their teeth as they growled. It was obvious that they were suffering from the backlash of their consciousness. As for Zhuowen, he immediately took out his time and space wheel, intending to leave this place. The moment Zhuowen activated his time and space wheel, 12 figures rushed over from the surroundings. Following that, 12 terrifying and powerful divine powers came crashing down like a storm, completely sealing off Zhuowen's path. These 12 figures cooperated very well, and not long after, they actually set up a powerful barrier around Zhuowen. It's Old Man Crabapple and the others. I'm afraid this one won't be able to escape even if he has wings. Nonsense, 12 half-step Void Sky 9th step experts, and all of them are powerful existences who have lived for countless years. If these 12 people join forces, they would probably be able to fight against a life-enlightening realm expert. No matter how powerful this Zhuowen is, it's impossible for him to escape from the hands of these 12 people. Although many of the surrounding cultivators coveted Zhuowen's life and death pills, after seeing the 12 half-step 9th Ascension Void Stage experts led by the old man, they all gave up on the idea of obtaining life and death pills. What a waste of effort! I've contacted so many cultivators during this period of time. Sure enough, they've come in handy. The old man stood not far in front of Zhuowen and looked down at Zhuowen with eyes full of arrogance. Are these cultivators your men? Zhuowen looked around and said to the begonia old man indifferently. The crabapple old man grinned and said, It's just a cooperative relationship. We only need to pay a few divine pills, and these people will come to an agreement with us. They will inform us as soon as they see you. Zhuowen nodded. This crabapple old man wasn't stupid. He actually knew how to cast a wide net. You want the life or death pill? Zhuowen asked calmly. The crabapple old man laughed and looked at Zhuowen as if he was looking at an idiot. He said, What else? A mere 7th Ascension Void Stage expert isn't worthy of the life or death pill. If you know what's good for you, then quickly hand it over. As soon as the old man said this, the other 11 half-step 9th Ascension Void Stage experts also sneered and looked at Zhuowen as if they were looking at prey. Zhuowen's eyes were cold. If he was facing 1 or 2 half-step 9th Ascension Void Stage experts, he wouldn't be afraid. However, he was facing 12 such terrifying experts. Even Zhuowen was extremely wary. What if I say no? Zhuowen slowly took out the king's sword. Sword chi whistled around him like a gale. The crabapple old man revealed a sinister smile and said, You don't have the right to say no. Of course, even if you take the initiative to hand over the life or death pill now, you won't have the chance because you'll die anyway. After saying this, the crabapple old man stretched out his skinny right arm and made a grabbing motion toward Zhuowen. Suddenly, a strange and terrifying energy rushed out like an angry dragon and blasted toward Zhuowen's vitals. Zhuowen narrowed his eyes and held the king's sword in his hand. Then he suddenly slashed out. With him as the center, the space around him instantly distorted and collapsed. This was the power of time and space. At this moment, Zhuan had already mastered the power of time and space. Every move he made contained a terrifying power of time and space. The raging dragon crashed in front of Zhuo Wen, but it was immediately beheaded by Zhuo Wen's sword. Then, the powerful space-time power shattered the space around the raging dragon, turning the raging dragon into dust. Attack! The moment the angry dragon was destroyed by Zhuan, the crabapple old man attacked Zhuan like a rock spreading its wings. When Zhuan snatched the life or death pill, the crabapple old man had seen his extraordinary strength. Therefore, he didn't dare to be negligent and joined forces with the other 11 to encircle Zhuan. There was no need for the crabapple old man to say anything. The moment the crabapple old man's attack was broken by Zhuowen, the other 11 took action. After all, the temptation of the life or death pill was no small matter. They all wanted the life or death pill. Zhuowen's eyes were full of caution. The encirclement of 12 half-step void sky 9th step experts was absolutely unprecedented. Not to mention a 7th step void sky cultivator like him, even life-comprehending experts wouldn't have experienced such a thing. This Zhuowen is really finished. The crabapple old man and the other 11 are attacking together. This kid is dead for sure. An ordinary man is innocent, but treasuring a jade ring becomes a crime. This kid is too greedy. He actually set his eyes on the life or death pill. He's simply digging his own grave. The moment the surrounding cultivators saw the crabapple old man join forces to deal with Zhuan, they were all moved. Since ancient times, this was the first time they had seen such a big battle formation. And such a big battle formation was just to encircle and annihilate a 7th step void sky peak cultivator. Although in the eyes of many cultivators, this white-clothed youth's cultivation was not high, but his strength was terrifying enough. Even so, they still felt that this white-clothed youth would not be able to escape even if he had wings. Zhuan took a deep breath and immediately took out the Thunderfire Sword and Blood Immortal Sword. At the same time, he also took out the 9 Extinction Divine Rune Sword and Sky-Destroying Meteor, the 2 secondary heaven-breaking divine artifacts. The King's Sword in Zhuowen's hand had already been upgraded to a secondary heaven-breaking divine artifact. All of this was due to the contribution of the Cosmic Flare Basket Stone Mine. Of course, in order to increase the power and quality of the King's Sword, Zhuan used a lot of Cosmic Flare Basket Stone Mine. It could be said that he was simply squandering it. However, the King's Sword did not disappoint and successfully upgraded. Moreover, its quality and power were much stronger than ordinary secondary heaven-breaking divine artifacts. Damn it, kid, you're making us cannon fodder. Chapter 2402. Killing Intentuowen was too lazy to pay attention to Xiaohe. This guy was very crafty. When Zhuan had a fortuitous encounter, he had extorted a lot of resources from him. In addition, Xiaohe wasn't simple. Zhuan knew that this guy's current strength shouldn't be weaker than a half-step 9th step void sky expert. Even if he wasn't, the gap wasn't big. Now that he was surrounded by 11 half-step 9th step void sky experts, it was impossible for Xiaohe to stay out of this. Just as Xiaohe finished speaking, the attacks of the crabapple old man and the others had already arrived. Xiaohe cursed inwardly. He could only brace himself and face them head-on. Otherwise, he would really become cannon fodder. Bang, bang, bang. Instantly, Xiaohe brought the Blood Immortal Sword and intercepted 2 half-step 9th step void sky experts. As for the remaining 10 half-step 9th step void sky experts, they were naturally left to Zhuan. Zhuan took a deep breath and extended his powerful divine sense. He controlled the 9 Extinction Divine Rune Sword and Space Extinguishing Meteor to face off against the 2 half-step 9th step void sky experts. The phagocytosis was flipped over by him. It swelled to the size of a small mountain and a powerful Dao aura spread out. It blocked the 2 half-step void sky experts at the same time. This time, Zhuan used all his skills and could only barely block 6 of the half-step 9th step void sky experts. The remaining 6, led by the crabapple old man, laughed nastily and rushed toward Zhuan. Zhuowen's gaze turned serious and he sighed in his heart. Now that he was facing 6 half-step 9th step void sky experts, it was really a bit dangerous. Although he still had 3 servants in the Zhonglan's secret realm, their cultivations were far from comparable to the half-step, ninth-step void sky experts. Calling them out would only add 3 more cannon fodder. I can't fight them head-on. I have to leave this place first. Otherwise, I won't be a match for the 12 of them. Zhuan thought of retreating. It wasn't too difficult for him to deal with 1 or 2 half-step, ninth-step void sky experts. However, there were 12 of them. It was too much for him. Heaven and earth splitter. When he thought up to here, Zhuan suddenly raised the Emperor's sword in his hand and slashed at the space before him. Immediately, large swaths of the surrounding space distorted and shattered. It was as if a new world was about to be opened up in the surrounding space. When the Crabapple Old Man and the other 5-step void sky experts, they couldn't help but stagnate. Rumble. Earth, heaven, earth, 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 God, spirit. Zhuan knew that this move wouldn't be able to stop the 6 of them. He was only borrowing this move to slow down the movements of the old man and the others, paving the way for his next move. At the end of the sea, a red sun slowly rose. The moment the Crabapple Old Man and the other 5-step void sky experts fell into the sea, their bodies trembled and a strong sense of uneasiness rose in their minds. Especially the Crabapple Old Man. After feeling the powerful space-time destruction of the surrounding space-time sea, he quickly thought of the move Zhuan used to send Lu Hao in flying when he snatched the life and death pill. When this move was first used, the Crabapple Old Man knew that it was a space-time ability. Moreover, it was very powerful. Be careful. This is a space-time ability that this kid comprehended. As long as we block this space-time ability, this kid won't have any other tricks up his sleeve. At that time, it will be easy for us to capture him. The Crabapple Old Man quickly said to the others. The rest of the people who were panicking because of the power of the space-time god ability calmed down after hearing the old man's words. In their opinion, space-time ability was indeed powerful. However, the one who used it was only a 7th-step void sky expert. Therefore, they felt a lot more at ease. Let's block this ability together, the Crabapple Old Man said. The Crabapple Old Man spoke once more. It was unknown when, but in his withered right hand, an ordinary-looking withered branch had appeared. This withered branch was very thin, like a dead tree that fell to the ground. It was very inconspicuous. The moment the Crabapple Old Man took out this withered branch, a withering power came from it. It was as if everything in the world that was full of vitality was gradually declining under the influence of this withered branch. After the Crabapple Old Man used his full strength, the others naturally didn't hold back. They took out their respective divine tools and joined forces to resist the terrifying power of the space-time sea and the powerful destructive power of the gradually rising sun. The sun rose higher and finally smashed on the barrier above. Then, the originally indestructible barrier shook violently under the powerful destructive power of the sun. Not good. This kid's goal is not us, but the barrier. We can't let him destroy the barrier. The Crabapple Old Man's expression changed slightly. He quickly guessed Zhuowen's intention. With a kick of his right foot, he turned into a stream of light and rushed towards the sun. Unfortunately, the Crabapple Old Man discovered that the closer he got to the sun, the more terrifying the destructive power became. Before the Crabapple Old Man was even half the distance, he had no choice but to give up in the end. The space-time destructive power of the sun was too terrifying. It was too difficult for him to take the initiative to approach. Of course, if the 12 of them joined forces, it would be possible. But now, 6 of them had been pinned down by Zhuan. The remaining 5 were not the type to work together. They were minding their own business. It was impossible for them to stop the terrifying sun with the Crabapple Old Man. Just as the Crabapple Old Man had no choice but to give up and retreat into the defensive circle of the 5 people, the sea around him suddenly surged with towering waves. They formed 4 high walls, trapping the Crabapple Old Man inside. "Old Man, is this a place where you can come and go as you please?" An indifferent voice rang out around the high waves. Then, streaks of sword light shot out from the high waves and blasted towards the Crabapple Old Man. The Crabapple Old Man's expression was unsightly. He recognized that this was Zhuowen's voice. He didn't expect this kid to still have the strength to attack after using the space-time divine art. This was truly unexpected. After all, if a cultivator below the 9th step of the void sky used space-time divine art, it would be very strenuous. After all, if one's cultivation base couldn't keep up, using such a powerful divine art would definitely consume a lot of energy. However, Yuan wasn't as strenuous as the crabapple old man had expected. Instead, he could still launch an attack. This made the crabapple old man both shocked and angry. Zhuowen's eyes were filled with killing intent. Among the 12 people, the crabapple old man was the most senior. It was also this old fart who had suggested to encircle Zhuowen. Therefore, if he didn't kill this old fart this time, Zhuowen wouldn't give up. Boom! The crabapple old man continuously blasted out with the withered branch in his hand. The withering power was like the sharpest blade in the world. It actually cut the surrounding space-time waves into countless pieces. However, this was of no use. After all, the space-time sea Zhuowen used was too vast. The fact that the crabapple old man could persist without dying showed that he was much stronger than ordinary half-step void sky 9th step cultivators. After all, Zhuowen's cultivation was merely at the initial stage of the 7th step void sky realm, yet the space-time ability he executed had almost killed Kuang Li, and he'd even killed the half-step void sky realm 9th step void sky realm expert from Shrine Lu. Chapter 2403. Without the lips, the teeth will feel the cold. The 5 of you came to help me. Without the lips, the teeth will feel the cold. If I die, the 5 of you will be finished as well. The crabapple old man had practically used everything he had, but he could only barely block the attack of the space-time waves. However, he knew that he couldn't hold on for too long, so he could only send a voice transmission to the other 5 people who were watching from the sidelines. Hearing the old man's voice transmission, the other 5 people's eyes flickered, and they all fell into hesitation. They were also bound by the power of the space-time sea. Of course, with their strength, it was more than enough to break free and help the old man. However, they were all smart people. They wouldn't joke around with their lives, so when the old man called for help, they very tacitly fell into silence, including the black-clothed man. Old man, are you planning to use them as tools? They won't gain anything by helping you. Zhuowen chuckled, then he cupped his fists towards the 5 people who were blocking the space-time sea and said, "The 5 of you, I have no enmity with you. Now you've seen that I've grasped a space-time ability. Moreover, I can use this ability more than once. If I use it again, do you think you can still block it? In the past, when I was at the early stage of the 7th step, I relied on this ability to kill a half-step 9th step cultivator. Now that my cultivation has reached the peak of the 7th step, it's not impossible for me to kill you." The 5 people's pupils constricted, and they looked at Zhuowen with extreme fear. Especially after experiencing the power of the space-time ability, they regretted listening to the old man's suggestion to besiege the white-clothed young man. This white-clothed young man was really not simple. He was only at the peak of the 7th step. If he advanced to the 8th step, wouldn't he be able to slaughter them like dogs? I'll give you all a chance. If you back out now, I won't hold you responsible. I'll only kill this old bastard. I know that this old bastard is the cause of all this trouble. How about it? Zhuowen said patiently. Don't listen to this kid's nonsense. He's sowing dissension. Once you retreat and I die, your death date won't be far away, the crabapple old man quickly said. Zhuowen sneered, believe it or not, but if you insist, I don't mind using my space-time ability again. After a short silence, the man in black cupped his fists and said, Brother Zhuo is really magnanimous. I, Muda, am really ashamed. I hope Brother Zhuo won't mind my withdrawal this time. Of course not. Zhuowen smiled and sent the black-clothed man out of the sea of time and space. When the other 4 people saw that the black-clothed man was actually let go so easily, their eyes all revealed a moved expression. We'll withdraw as well. Me too. The other 4 people also hurriedly showed flattering expressions and cupped their fists toward Zhuowen, indicating that they wanted to withdraw. The crabapple old man cursed in his heart. He knew very well that these people didn't have a deep relationship with him. Now that they found that Zhuowen was so difficult to deal with, The first thing they thought of was naturally their own lives. Now that 5 people had withdrawn at once, the pressure on Zhuan suddenly decreased a lot. At this moment, the terrifying cruelty finally destroyed all the barriers that the 12 people had set up in advance. Zhuan floated in the air and looked down at the crabapple old man who was surrounded by high waves on all sides but was unable to break free. The corner of his mouth revealed a murderous smile and said, "Crabapple old man, I must kill you today." The crabapple old man's face was pale. Just as he was about to speak, Zhuan bent his right hand and pointed, then suddenly fell. The sun that had risen to the highest point fell like a meteor. Its speed was extremely fast, and it suddenly landed in the middle of the high waves. Then, as if an endless amount of seawater had exploded, pillars of water shot up into the sky. These pillars of water were not regional. Instead, they rushed up from the entire space-time sea. It was like a musical fountain. The entire surface of the water was filled with pillars of water, and it was impossible to see what the surface of the sea looked like. It was extremely spectacular. The remaining 6 practitioners, who were originally restrained by the Thunderfire Sword and phagocytosis, were caught off guard and were immediately pushed back by the surrounding pillars of water. They were in an extremely sorry state. However, Xiao He and the others were not affected at all. "Motherfucker, you had a good time beating me up just now. Now it's my turn." Xiao He was a guy who climbed up a pole. Now that he had the help of these space-time sea water pillars, he naturally would not let go of this opportunity to beat the dogs that were down. Thus, Blackie called out to the blood-immortal sword and roared loudly as it charged towards the 2 cultivators who could only block the water pillar in a sorry state. The 2 cultivators could only bitterly smile as they secretly complained in their hearts. Zhuan silently looked at the crabapple old man who was holding a withered branch and struggling to block the sun. His eyes were full of coldness. "Let me go, and I swear I will never trouble you again. And I will also give you everything I have, as long as you let me go." The crabapple old man was now bleeding from his 7 orifices. Even the illusory bridge had begun to burn to block the terrifying sun in front of him. However, the power of the sun was too terrifying. The crabapple old man knew very well that he would not be able to block it for long before he was completely blown to smithereens by the sun. He had cultivated to this level through countless years of accumulation. He still had a long life ahead of him. How could he be willing to die like this? Therefore, the crabapple old man abandoned all his dignity and began to beg Zhuan for mercy. He knew that this was the only way he could have a chance to live. "Sorry, you no longer have a chance." Zhuan's eyes were calm. His right hand bent and pointed again. The sun suddenly blasted down. The crabapple old man, who was originally on the verge of collapse, completely sank into the sea of time and space under the attack of the sun. The moment the crabapple old man sank into the sea, the illusory bridge behind him began to shatter into powder. It began to break apart and finally shattered into pieces. The moment the sun fell into the sea, 6 terrifying waves rose from the sea of time and space, sweeping all the 6 practitioners who were still within the range of the sea of time and space. "No, I surrender, let us go." "Don't kill me, this has nothing to do with me. It's all the crabapple old man's instigation." The moment the sea of time and space unleashed its power, the 6 practitioners all revealed looks of fear and repeatedly begged for mercy. Unfortunately, Zhuan did not give them a chance to beg for mercy. The terrifying power of the sea of time and space erupted and swept all of them into the depths of the sea. The sea returned to calm, and there was no more news of the 6 of them. Chapter 2404. Hiss. When the space-time ocean calmed down, the first to react were the 5 cultivators who had just escaped death. Then, they all gasped in unison. The surrounding cultivators also reacted one after another. They were all dumbfounded as they watched all this. 12 half-step void sky 9th-step experts had been defeated just like that. Moreover, Zhuan had killed 7 of them by himself. Wasn't this a bit too frightening? Zhuan's face was slightly pale. He forcefully suppressed the boiling blood in his body and quickly consumed the heavenly domain star essence. Only then did he feel much better. 12 half-step void sky 9th stage cultivators teamed up. Zhuan knew his limits. No matter how powerful he was, it was impossible for him to deal with 12 half-step void sky 9th stage cultivators teaming up. The reason he won this time was firstly because he restrained 6 of them. Secondly, he calmly persuaded the other 6. Otherwise, if Zhuan continued to fight, the chances of him losing would be very high. Of course, part of the reason was that the 12 of them didn't work together. If the 12 of them worked together, Zhuan would really be miserable. Zhuan's complexion improved. His gaze immediately fell on the 5 cultivators led by the black-clothed man. Sensing Zhuan's gaze, the black-clothed man trembled. He quickly cupped his hands and said, "Senior, you said before that we have no enmity between us. You won't kill us." Zhuan said indifferently, "Don't worry. I did promise you that I won't kill you." Hearing Zhuan's words, the black-clothed man and the other 4 heaved a sigh of relief. The battle strength Zhuan had just displayed was too terrifying. Even if the 5 of them teamed up now, they would definitely be far from being a match for him. However, you have to pay a price for teaming up with that old man. Hand over your spirit rings. Otherwise, I'll take them by force. Zhuan said indifferently. As soon as these words came out, the black-clothed man and the other 4's faces became unsightly. In the spirit ring, there were many divine pellets that they had collected in the divine pellets secret realm. Among them, there was no lack of high-grade divine pellets, which had cost them a lot of effort. In addition, there were many personal belongings in the spirit ring. If they handed it over to Zhuan now, wouldn't they become paupers? Unfortunately, the killing intent in Zhuan's eyes had already descended, and they could not refuse at all. They knew that once they refused, the white-clothed young man before them would mercilessly kill them. There would be no mercy at all. With no other choice, the black-clothed man and the others could only reluctantly part with their treasures. They took off their spirit rings and handed them over to Zhuan. After putting away the 5 spiritual rings, Zhuan revealed a satisfied expression and said, "Thanks." After saying that, Zhuan took out the space-time wheel and planned to leave. However, the moment he activated the space-time wheel, a purple light shot out from the ground at an extremely fast speed and slammed into the bottom of the space-time wheel. Boom! The powerful force immediately caused the space-time wheel to tumble in the air, and Zhuan fell from the space-time wheel in a sorry state. At the moment of falling, Zhuan finally noticed the true face of the purple light under the space-time wheel. The purple light was an unstoppable purple halberd, and a powerful aura was revealed from the halberd. Zhuan was too familiar with this purple halberd. It was LV Haotian's life divine weapon. "Come back." Zhuan's eyes were gloomy. With a wave of his sleeve, the surging divine power turned into a huge palm and grabbed at the space-time wheel. The importance of the space-time wheel to Zhuan was self-evident. The reason why he could get rid of the martial artists in the life enlightenment realm was mainly due to the space-time wheel. Losing the space-time wheel to him was like a bird that had lost its wings. Unfortunately, just as Zhuan's divine power hand stretched out, it was immediately crushed by another purple hand. Then, the purple hand unceremoniously pinched the space-time wheel in its palm. Zhuan stomped his right foot and looked gloomily at the imposing figure that broke out from the ground below. LV Haotian floated in front of Zhuan, holding the purple halberd in his right hand and playing with the space-time wheel in his left hand. Under the suppression of LV Haotian's power, the space-time wheel had shrunk to the size of half a palm. "You should have gotten this thing from the space-time quicksand river, right? It's really a good thing. This thing is mine in the future." LV Haotian looked at the space-time wheel in his palm with a touch of satisfaction in his eyes. He had been coveting the space-time wheel's speed for a long time. Even for an expert in the life enlightenment realm like him, this thing was of great help. After all, even he couldn't catch up with the space-time wheel's speed. This kind of flying divine weapon was very rare. "As for you, die for me." LV Haotian formed a seal with his left hand, completely sealing the struggling space-time wheel, and immediately rushed toward Zhuan. The purple halberd in his right hand blasted toward Zhuan unceremoniously. Zhuan's eyes were extremely gloomy. This LV Haotian was really scheming. He must have been lurking underground until Zhuan relaxed his vigilance. Then, he attacked and captured the space-time wheel in one fell swoop. Boom! Zhuan summoned the phagocytosis and blocked in front of the purple halberd. Phagocytosis's hardness was needless to say, but the force of the purple halberd that hit the phagocytosis was accurately reflected back to Zhuan, causing Zhuan to groan and the blood in his body to tumble. Seeing that Zhuan only took a few steps back with a groan, LV Haotian's eyes suddenly narrowed, and the sense of urgency in his heart became stronger. When Zhuan was only at the early stage of the Void Sky 7th step, his blow was enough to make Zhuan extremely embarrassed, but now it only made him take a few steps back. LV Haotian knew that the reason for this, in addition to some internal injuries in his body that had not recovered, was that Zhuan's strength had become stronger. Now Zhuan's cultivation was at the peak of the Void Sky 7th step, extremely close to the Void Sky 8th step. His terrifying strength was already at the peak of the half-step Void Sky 9th step. Of course, there was still some distance from the Life Enlightenment realm. And this distance was actually not far. Thinking that the young man in white in front of him was only at the peak of the Void Sky 7th step, LV Haotian knew that if he continued to grow, he might not be able to suppress this young man. The more he thought of this, the stronger LV Haotian's killing intent toward Zhuan became. The extreme purple shadow kill. LV Haotian roared. Immediately, he held the purple halberd in his hand and stepped in the void. Then, he turned into a purple shadow and rushed towards Zhuan. Chapter 2405. A Strange Lake. When LV Haotian reached Zhuan's surroundings, the purple shadows instantly turned into thousands of dazzling purple shadows. However, among the countless purple shadows, there was a hidden killing intent. Among the countless shadows, a purple light pierced through the air and swept toward Zhuan's neck, as if it wanted to pierce through Zhuan's neck. The moment LV Haotian made this move, Zhuan already had a bad premonition. It could be said that LV Haotian's move was very powerful, giving him an irresistible power. Therefore, Zhuan did not hesitate to take out the Elixir Emperor Turtle and use it as a shield. The Elixir Emperor Turtle was obviously still thinking about the reason for its previous failure. It was caught off guard when Zhuan took it out. It was not mentally prepared at all. However, the Elixir Emperor Turtle soon felt a strong killing intent. Then, a powerful purple light shot out from the front and blasted directly toward it. The Elixir Emperor Turtle's perception was still very sharp. It quickly felt the terrifying killing intent in the purple light. Therefore, without saying anything, it immediately retracted its head into the Elixir Emperor furnace. However, in its heart, it was cursing Zhuan's 18 generations of ancestors. Needless to say, the Elixir Emperor Turtle also knew that the damn kid was using it as a shield again. Bang, bang, bang. The purple light was like a shuttle. It was extremely fast and heavily blasted on the Elixir Emperor furnace. Then, endless sparks burst out. Although the purple light looked very powerful, the Elixir Emperor furnace's sturdiness was beyond Zhuan's imagination. It actually completely blocked the extremely threatening purple light. LV Haotian frowned slightly. He did not expect that Zhuan would suddenly have such a strange Elixir Emperor furnace. Moreover, this Elixir Emperor furnace was so sturdy. It was really beyond his expectations. Bang, bang, bang. LV Haotian's offensive didn't stop in the slightest, but the moment the purple light was blocked, the surrounding purple shadows were like clones, shooting out purple light like rain, densely enveloping Zhuan's entire body. Pill Emperor Turtle, help me block this attack. Zhuan hurriedly transmitted his voice. The Pill Monarch Turtle cursed in its heart, but it couldn't ignore Zhuan. It could only grumble and enlarge the Pill Monarch furnace, covering Zhuan entirely. Hurry up and run. When the Pill Emperor furnace blocked the purple light attack, the Pill Emperor Turtle hurriedly transmitted a message to Zhuan. Zhuan nodded and grabbed the shrunken Emperor Pill furnace. The torch dragon wings on his back unfurled as he flew into the distance. Lu Haotian sneered as he watched Zhuan's departing figure. He followed closely behind. In LV Haotian's eyes, Zhuan, who had lost the space-time wheel, was much slower. It wouldn't be difficult for him to catch up to Zhuan. Of course, if he used the space-time wheel, he would be able to catch up to Zhuowen in an instant. However, the space-time wheel had been refined by Zhuowen and there was still Zhuowen's imprint on it, so LV Haoyin really couldn't use the space-time wheel at present. If he wanted to use the space-time wheel, he could only wait until he finished dealing with Zhuowen and find a secluded place to slowly refine it and make it his own. Of course, his primary goal now was to catch up with Zhuowen and completely eliminate this big problem in his heart. Zhuowen looked at LV Haoyin, who was slowly closing the distance behind him, and his eyes suddenly became gloomy. Without the space-time wheel, there was still a considerable gap between his speed and that of a life enlightenment realm expert. It wouldn't be long before LV Haoyin could completely catch up. Thinking of this, Zhuowen was a little flustered. When LV Haoyin chased after Zhuowen, the rest of the cultivators also followed behind. Of course, they didn't follow very close, but hung from a distance. Obviously, they were hoping to get lucky and pick up the loot from LV Haoyin. Boom boom boom. In the process of chasing Zhuowen, LV Haoyin naturally continued to release various attacks on Zhuowen. Zhuowen used the Emperor Pill Furnace as a defensive magic weapon. Every time LV Haoyin attacked, he used the Emperor Pill Furnace to resist. This also made the Emperor Pill Turtle in the Emperor Pill Furnace suffer. Although the Emperor Pill Turtle was protected by the Emperor Pill Furnace, it was not a big deal. However, every time an attack hit the surface of the Emperor Pill Furnace, it would cause the Emperor Pill Furnace to shake violently. The terrifying shaking force naturally made the Pill Emperor Tortoise in the Pill Emperor Furnace dizzy and disoriented. It almost couldn't tell its direction. This also made the Pill Emperor Tortoise hate LV Haoyin as well. Zhuowen, fly towards the southeast. The guy behind us is too arrogant. Today I, Lord Tortoise, will teach him a lesson and let him know the consequences of angering me. The Emperor Pill Turtle's voice suddenly passed into Zhuowen's mind. Zhuowen was startled. Why is this old turtle's voice so strange at this moment? Is he planning to play some kind of conspiracy? Could do as I say. I am much more familiar with this divine Pill's secret realm than you. See if I don't kill this old guy. The Emperor Pill Turtle continued. Zhuowen nodded, changed direction, and flew to the southeast. Although he didn't know what the old turtle wanted to do, he could guess that this guy was probably trying to lure LV Haoyin into the Divine Pill's secret realm. If he could really use the Divine Pill's secret realm to restrain LV Haoyin, or even kill LV Haoyin, Zhuowen would definitely be more than happy to do so. LV Haoyin, who was chasing behind, was not suspicious. He still spared no effort to attack Zhuowen again and again. Although his speed was indeed faster than Zhuowen, Zhuowen was extremely cunning. Every time he relied on the Emperor Pill Furnace to block his attack, he would use the recoil to open a small distance between them. And it was precisely because of this that LV Haoyin still couldn't catch up with Zhuowen. Cunning little bastard. LV Haoyin secretly cursed. I say, haven't we arrived yet? The distance between me and LV Haoyin is less than a kilometer. Maybe he will catch up with me in the next moment. Zhuowen was a little panicked. The Emperor Pill Turtle said indifferently, we're almost there. It's just ahead. Zhuowen focused his gaze and discovered that an incomparably clear and huge lake had appeared 1,000 meters ahead. The water in this lake was very light. He could see things tens of meters below the lake. However, this lake was very deep. Tens of meters below the lake was pitch black. No one knew if there was anything under the lake. Enter the lake. The Emperor Pill Turtle quickly said. Although Zhuowen was a little confused, he found that LV Haoyin was getting closer and closer behind him. He could only follow the Emperor Pill Turtle's request and dive into the depths of the lake. LV Haoyin also arrived above the lake. He didn't even think about it and went in. In his opinion, this Zhuowen couldn't make any waves at all, let alone play any tricks. The inside of the lake was extremely quiet, and nothing existed. Chapter 2406. Wolf God Lake Boom. Suddenly, a terrifying sound of water breaking came from behind Zhuowen. Zhuowen didn't even think about it. She immediately placed the Imperial Pill Furnace behind her, blocking Lu Haoyin's attack once again. The Pill Emperor Turtle screamed like a pig being slaughtered from the Pill Emperor Pill Furnace. It cursed and swore, cursing Zhuowen and LV Haoyin's ancestors. Zhuan continued to go deeper, and at the same time, he sent a message to the Pill Emperor Turtle. What should I do next? Continue diving. When you reach the bottom of the lake, I will give you instructions. The Pill Emperor Turtle said with a grimace. Zhuan shrugged. The Pill Emperor Furnace had indeed helped him a lot. With such a strong defense, Lu Haotian's attack did not have much effect on him. If it were not for the Pill Emperor Furnace, he would have been caught by Lu Haotian. On the other hand, LV Haotian gnashed his teeth in anger. He knew that if it weren't for the Pill Emperor Furnace that had ruined his plans time and time again, he wouldn't have let Zhuowen get away with it. In this way, the two of them reached the bottom of the lake. Zhuowen's face was pale, and a trace of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Although most of the attacks were blocked by the Pill Emperor Furnace, a small part of the attacks still passed on to Zhuowen's body. In a short time, Zhuowen did not feel anything, but now that such a long time had passed, Zhuowen actually suffered heavy injuries. Hurry up and go forward. There's a coral reef there. Before entering the coral reef, you must push down a jade tablet in front of the coral reef, and then enter the coral reef. Remember, you must topple that jade tablet. Otherwise, everything will be for naught, the Pill Emperor Turtle said in a rare serious tone. Zhuowen hurriedly ran forward. Naturally, he kept the Pill Emperor Turtle's instructions in mind. Sure enough, after a quarter of an hour, Zhuowen saw a huge coral reef in front of him. In front of the coral reefs, there was indeed a jade stone tablet. This jade stone tablet wasn't very tall. Instead, it seemed a little short. It only reached Zhuowen's waist. Zhuowen didn't think too much about it. He immediately rushed to the front of the jade stone tablet and pushed it down. Then he rushed into the coral reef. The moment Zhuowen pushed down the jade tablet, a light blue light shield immediately appeared around the coral reef. This light shield was semicircular in shape, and everything outside of the coral reef was kept out of the way. Do you think you can escape by entering the coral reef? Stupid. At this moment, Lu Haotian also arrived at the coral reef. When he saw Zhuowen enter the coral reef, he sneered. However, just as he was about to fall into the coral reef, he crashed into the light barrier. Then, LV Haotian awkwardly retreated dozens of steps and looked at the light barrier outside the coral reef with a grave expression. This light barrier wasn't simple at all. Even he couldn't break through it. Its toughness was beyond his imagination. At the same time, the originally quiet lake was now surging with undercurrents. Outside the coral reefs, pairs of scarlet eyes suddenly appeared. These eyes exuded a bloodthirsty light, as if they wanted to devour everything in the world. Lu Haotian also noticed the countless red eyes that appeared around him, and his face suddenly became gloomy. He felt that he was fooled, but he did not understand how Zhuowen knew that there was such a mechanism at the bottom of the lake. Yun was not a person from the divine pill secret realm. Could it be a coincidence? Lu Haotian thought. Unfortunately, his thoughts did not last long, and the sound of water splashing could be heard. The surrounding pairs of scarlet eyes quickly rushed toward Lu Haotian. They were so fast that they arrived here in an instant. Only then did Lu Haotian see the appearance of the owner of these scarlet eyes. It was a creature that looked very much like a wolf, but although this creature had a wolf head, the lower half of its body was like a sea lion, with a black tail fin. Lu Haotian coldly snorted and waved the purple halberd in his hand. Suddenly, the wolf-like creatures at the front were blasted into a bloody mist by Lu Haotian's purple halberd. However, there were many of these creatures, and they surrounded Lu Haotian in a dense crowd. Moreover, when Lu Haotian killed some of the wolf-like creatures just now, the smell of blood completely stimulated the other wolf-like creatures. The other wolf-like creatures rushed toward Lu Haotian without fear of death, and they did not retreat because of the death of their companions. Lu Haotian's face was extremely ugly. He originally planned to kill the chicken to warn the monkey, but he did not expect to completely anger this group of creatures. Zhuowen, who was hiding in the coral reef, looked at the densely packed wolf-like creatures around him and could not help but be surprised. The number of these wolf-like creatures was even more terrifying than the evil spirits he encountered in Death Valley. If Zhuowen were to face these wolf-like creatures alone, Zhuowen knew that it would be very difficult for him to escape. Moreover, he was in the water, so his speed was even more restricted. What kind of creatures are these? Zhuan looked at the Pill Emperor Turtle and asked. This is the Wolf God Lake, and these creatures are called sea wolves. They are the only kind of creatures in the Wolf God Lake, and they are also very terrifying creatures. Because there are too many sea wolves, the entire Wolf God Lake is basically filled with sea wolves, densely packed together. Once you kill a sea wolf, you'll provoke the wrath of all the sea wolves in the Wolf God Lake. If all the sea wolves in the Wolf God Lake gang up on you, even a life-comprehending realm expert would suffer. Just wait and see. This little bastard hurt me so much, if I don't fight back, people will think I'm a sick cat. The Pill Emperor Turtle said and looked at Lu Haoyan, who was still fighting with the sea wolves in the distance. But how do we get out? Zhuan asked with a frown. I know the way out. When the time is right, I will tell you. Don't you want to leave this annoying guy here forever? This guy is a big problem for you, and your space-time was also taken away by him, right? The Pill Emperor Turtle said with a mischievous smile. Zhuan nodded. What the Pill Emperor Turtle said was right. Lu Haoyan had chased after him several times. Moreover, Lu Haoyan had put him in such a difficult situation. Zhuan indeed wanted to eliminate him completely. However, Lu Haoyan was a life enlightenment realm expert. This kind of expert was many times stronger than a half-step void sky ninth-step cultivator. With his current strength, it was too difficult to kill Lu Haoyan. I know what you are worried about. But I want to tell you that the Wolf God Lake is not as simple as you think, because the Wolf God Lake is second only to the Death Valley in the Divine Pill Secret Realm. If you want to get rid of Lu Haoyan, you can only do it here. Once you get out, I'm afraid it won't be so easy. The Pill Emperor Turtle said. Hearing this, Zhuan nodded and said, so I'll just wait like this. Chapter 2407. Mysterious Divine Lotus Whoosh. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The sound of breaking water resounded continuously. Black shadows transformed into a terrifying black storm at the bottom of the lake, extending from the bottom of the lake to the surface. LV Haoyan was wrapped in the center of this terrifying black storm, passively blocking the surrounding sea wolves that could attack him at any time. Damn it! LV Haoyan's face was very ugly. He kept waving the purple halberd in his hand. The purple light energy was like a bomb, exploding continuously in the surroundings. It looked extremely strange and terrifying. Moreover, every time LV Haoyan wanted to escape the encirclement of the sea wolves, these sea wolves were extremely cunning. They actually pounced on LV Haoyan's head, blocking all of LV Haoyan's paths. This also caused LV Haoyan to be unable to escape the encirclement of the sea wolves. Although the sea wolves were not strong, there were too many of them. Even LV Haoyan could not afford to waste so much energy. Time gradually passed, and soon, 3 days had passed. During these 3 days, Zhuan basically sat cross-legged among the corals. At the same time, he also took a fusion divine pellet. He only had a total of 10 fusion divine pellets. After taking 1 fusion divine pellet, he found that the divine power in his body had instantly recovered to its peak. Moreover, because of the medicinal effect of the fusion divine pellet, his divine power was actually much stronger than before. And this kind of strength was not in terms of quantity. In fact, the total amount was still the same. The main thing was the change in quality. The Pill Emperor Turtle was right. The medicinal effect of the fusion divine pellet was indeed terrifying. Just this 1 pellet alone made Zhuan's body swell, as if it was about to explode. It was hard for him to imagine that if the Pill Emperor Turtle had not fused all the divine pellets into 10 portions, but into 1, he might have really exploded and died. Thinking of this, Zhuan was somewhat grateful to the Pill Emperor Turtle. Although this guy was as unreliable as Xiao He, his heart was not bad. Moreover, the effect of the fusion divine pellet was very strong. It had almost healed Zhuan's injuries. In the past 3 days, the number of waves has been increasing. That Lu Haoyan is finished. The Pill Emperor Turtle was lying on top of a coral reef at the very front. It looked at the countless black storm-like waves in the distance with a gloating smile on its face. Zhuan looked at the black storm in front of him with pity. He could even see a struggling figure in the center of the black storm. He knew that it was LV Haoyan. Originally, he had some doubts about Seawolf's strength, but now it seems that his doubts were completely unnecessary. If this trend continued, LV Haoyan would soon be exhausted to death. Boom! Boom! Suddenly, the huge black storm in front of him erupted with countless purple lights. The purple light grew bigger and bigger, and more terrifying. Then, the originally huge black storm was directly shattered by the purple light. Countless sea wolves were smashed into smithereens, their flesh and blood mangled. Furthermore, the purple light was getting stronger and stronger, spreading towards the upper half of the black storm. More and more sea wolves were sacrificed. What's going on? How did this Lu Haoyan suddenly become strong? Inside the coral reef, Zhuowen's pupils shrank when he saw this. The Pill Emperor Turtle's eyes were calm as he said, "This LV Haoyan should have used his trump card. However, the side effects of this trump card should be very great. I'm afraid this guy won't be able to use it for long. Even if it can't be used for long, it should be enough to completely break through the encirclement of the sea wolves." Zhuowen's eyes were cold. Yun wasn't a blind person. He could see at a glance how terrifying LV Haoyan's power was. At least, it wouldn't be difficult for him to break through the encirclement of these sea wolves. I already said that the Wolf God Lake is not that simple. The more sea wolves Lu Haoyan kills, the more unlucky he will be. You can keep watching, the Pill Emperor Turtle said with a mocking smile. Zhuowen looked at the confident Pill Emperor Turtle. His eyes were filled with doubt. Could it be that the Wolf God Lake had some sort of secret? Although Zhuowen wanted to ask, he knew that he wouldn't be able to get anything out of the Pill Emperor Turtle when he saw its current state. The more the purple light spread, the greater the obstruction, and the slower the speed of its ascent. At the center of the purple light, LV Haoyan's eyes were red. A huge illusory heavenly bridge was floating behind him. The first 8 steps of LV Haoyan's illusory heavenly bridge were all lit up. On the 9th step, a green lotus full of vitality was floating. This was the mysterious life divine lotus. Only when a cultivator advanced to the life enlightenment realm, this mysterious life divine lotus would bloom on the 9th step of the illusory heavenly bridge. The main function of the mysterious life divine lotus was to provide a steady stream of mysterious life divine power for the cultivator. It could be said that the life enlightenment realm cultivators relied on the mysterious life divine lotus to have a qualitative change in their divine power. This was also the main reason why they were much stronger than cultivators below the illusory heavenly bridge. At this moment, LV Haoyan stepped onto the 9th step. He held the mysterious life divine lotus with his right hand and suddenly released it. Suddenly, the green mysterious life divine lotus slowly floated in the air and rushed up. The purple light that was originally obstructed by the sea wolves condensed into a purple vortex the moment the mysterious life divine lotus approached. Its power increased greatly, and the speed of its ascent suddenly increased. Let's leave this damned place first. When the time comes, I'll find Zhuowen to settle the score. LV Haoyan's face was pale. He had no choice but to release the mysterious life divine lotus. One had to know that the mysterious life divine lotus was very powerful, but it was also very fragile. If a cultivator of the same level was here, it would be very easy for them to use the mysterious life divine lotus against him. However, LV Haoyan had no choice. Otherwise, he wouldn't have released the mysterious life divine lotus. Countless sea wolves were crushed by the purple light, and LV Haoyan was getting closer and closer to the surface of the lake. Looking at the lake getting closer and closer, LV Haoyan's eyes revealed a happy expression. He knew that he was about to leave this damned place. As for the matter of chasing after Zhuowen, he didn't even think about it now. He was about to lose his life. How could he still think about chasing after Zhuowen? Suddenly, the remaining sea wolves that were lucky enough to survive let out sorrowful cries. Their cries were sorrowful and painful, as if they were asking for help. Their cries were distant and spread far and wide. The moment these sorrowful cries were heard, a thunderous roar came from the deepest part of the lake, as if it was responding to the sorrowful cries of the sea wolves. This roar was extremely terrifying and deafening. Even Zhuowen couldn't help but cover his ears with a look of horror in his eyes. With his current realm, to be able to give him a deafening feeling, how powerful would one need to be able to do this? The owner of this roar was definitely a terrifying existence. Chapter 2408. The Terrifying Wolf God Splash. Zhuowen was horrified to find that the terrifying water current was actually causing the huge light barrier on the surface of the coral reef to tremble violently. This sturdy light barrier seemed to be on the verge of collapsing in the water current. Just the water current alone was already so terrifying. He wondered how terrifying the owner of the water current was. Thinking of this, Zhuowen's gaze became even more fearful. On the contrary, the Pill Emperor Turtle was calm and composed, as if it already knew this would happen. In the depths of the coral reef, a pair of incomparably huge scarlet eyes could be seen. This pair of eyes was extremely huge, even bigger than Zhuowen's entire body. At first glance, it was very frightening. Then, a huge monster swept out from the depths of the coral reef. The water current it stirred up was like a water dragon, bombarding the light barrier, causing the light barrier to shake even more violently. Zhuowen was extremely worried that the light barrier of the coral reef would shatter in the next moment. Therefore, he secretly prepared himself. However, Zhuowen's worries were obviously unnecessary. Although the light barrier above the coral reef looked like it would shatter at any time, it was still extremely sturdy in the face of the terrifying water current. When this huge monster swept over the coral reef, it paused for a moment. It only glanced at Zhuowen and the Pill Emperor Turtle below before ignoring them. Instead, it suddenly rushed out and swept towards LV Haotian in the distance. What kind of creature is this? It's so powerful! Zhuowen looked at the gigantic creature in the distance. This gigantic creature had an incomparably large wolf head. As for its streamlined body, it was covered with densely packed hard scales. Anyone could tell how hard those scales were. This is the wolf god. The wolf god lake is also named after this wolf god. All the sea wolves in the wolf god lake are the descendants of the wolf god. Generally speaking, the wolf god doesn't appear in the world. However, this guy LV Haotian has gone too far. He killed so many sea wolves. Do you think the wolf god will let him go? The Pill Monarch Turtle sneered and continued, the wolf god's strength should be at the enlightenment realm. But in the wolf god lake, the wolf god has a unique advantage and can unleash its full strength. As for that LV Haotian, he was already seriously injured and consumed a lot of his divine power by the countless sea wolves. Now that he has encountered the wolf god, Zhuowen nodded. This wolf god gave him a very strong sense of crisis, even stronger than Lu Haotian at his peak. Even if LV Haotian was in his peak state right now, he might not be a match for wolf god. I say, old turtle, my time and space wheel is still in LV Haotian's hands. Can I snatch the spirit ring from that old guy when these two guys are fighting? Zhuowen asked. Yes, but you have to avoid those sea wolves. Take some of the corals here and cover yourself with them. Then, sneak over, the Pill Emperor Turtle said calmly. Zhuowen was a little puzzled. Could it be that this coral reef can help me not be discovered? The Pill Emperor Turtle said indifferently, you are right. This coral reef is indeed useful. Otherwise, if you go out like this, wouldn't you be courting death? Although Zhuowen still had some doubts in his heart, thinking of the importance of the time and space wheel to him, he was willing to take this risk. Thinking of this, Zhuowen quickly collected a lot of corals around him. Then he used his divine power to mix the corals into a thick paste and covered it all over his body. After doing this, Zhuowen's attention was focused on LV Haotian in the distance. At this moment, LV Haotian was very close to the surface of the lake. Within 10 breaths of time, he could definitely drill out of the lake. But what LV Haotian didn't expect was that the real master of the wolf god lake would appear. Boom! The terrifying sound of water exploded like thunder. Then, streams of water, like angry dragons, instantly broke through the purple light above LV Haotian. LV Haotian's pupils shrank. With a wave of his sleeve, he immediately took back the mysterious life divine lotus above him. At the same time, he took the illusory bridge and retreated rapidly. He looked at the huge monster behind him with an extremely unfriendly gaze. The arrival of the wolf god also caused the surrounding sea wolves to stop their movements. They all surrounded the wolf god and let out a series of mournful cries as if they were complaining about something. "You killed so many of my descendants, and you want to leave just like that?" The wolf god's scarlet eyes stared coldly at LV Houghton. His gaze was extremely unfriendly. LV Houghton took a few steps back and looked at the huge monster with fear. He could feel a strong sense of danger from the wolf god. He knew that this monster was very powerful, even stronger than him at his peak. "I didn't mean to offend you. I only entered this place because I was chasing a person. But your descendants indiscriminately surrounded me, so I fought to protect myself," LV Houghton said politely. The wolf god sneered and said, "No matter what my descendants did, you have no right to kill them wantonly. Now that you have killed my descendants, you can exchange a life for a life." LV Houghton's expression changed drastically. He kicked his right foot and immediately fled upward. Unfortunately, the wolf god suddenly swung his tail and a terrifying huge tail fin came crashing down like a wave. LV Houghton didn't even think about it. He took out the mysterious life divine lotus and blocked in front of him. The mysterious life divine energy in the mysterious life divine lotus was extremely powerful. The moment the divine lotus was taken out, the divine lotus bloomed. The terrifying mysterious life divine energy was like a rising tide that suddenly exploded. Boom! The tail fin and the divine lotus collided heavily. Immediately, countless water whirlpools erupted in the depths of the lake. LV Houghton's eyes were filled with fear. Even if he used the mysterious life divine lotus to block it, it was still difficult. Poochie! LV Houghton spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was extremely pale. His whole body was still holding the mysterious life divine lotus with both hands as he continued to sink. The wolf god's tail fin mercilessly bombarded LV Houghton. This really made LV Houghton suffer. Although the mysterious life divine lotus was extremely powerful and was the essence of LV Houghton's countless years of cultivation, it still paled in comparison to the wolf god's power. At this moment, the scene was extremely funny. The wolf god swung his tail fin and hit LV Houghton's body like a pile. LV Houghton, on the other hand, was holding the mysterious life divine lotus with both hands. He stood there in an extremely sorry state, following the movements of the wolf god's tail fin. He was constantly being blasted down, and he was sinking deeper and deeper. His clothes were almost stained with blood, and it was a shocking sight. At this moment, LV Houghton really couldn't speak of his suffering. He even cursed Zhuowen's 18 generations of ancestors in his heart. Chapter 2409. LV Houghton's death. The wolf god was too powerful. This kind of power made LV Houghton feel a sense of despair. If LV Houghton was not injured and was at his peak, he was confident that he could escape from the wolf god. But now, LV Houghton's injuries were too serious. In addition, he was tricked by Zhuowen several times before, so he did not care about his injuries. Now, the side effects suddenly appeared. Boom! The wolf god did not care what LV Houghton was thinking. He did not care at all and smashed down with his tail fin. LV Houghton only felt his whole body tremble. His face was incomparably red, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His hands almost lost their grip on the mysterious life lotus. Just as LV Houghton's entire body was shaking from the impact of the tail fin and was about to roll over, a sharp divine sword suddenly appeared in LV Houghton's right hand. By the time LV Houghton realized it, it was already too late. The divine sword quickly cut off LV Houghton's right arm. Then, a white hand pulled LV Houghton's right arm over. Poochie! How could LV Houghton expect this to happen so suddenly? By the time he reacted, his right arm had already been cut off and taken away. You little bastard, I won't let you go even if I become a ghost." LV Houghton's reaction was very fast. He immediately noticed that the owner who cut off his arm was Zhuowen, who was quietly approaching. And it was also because LV Houghton's attention was completely attracted by Zhuowen that LV Houghton did not notice that the wolf god waved his tail fin again and smashed it down fiercely. Pucci. LV Haotian, who was not on guard, was directly hit by the tail fin. His whole body burst into a bloody mist, and his only remaining hand was directly blown apart. The mysterious life lotus in his hand was also thrown away, and its light dimmed. LV Haotian's whole body quickly fell to the bottom of the lake, but his resentful voice did not stop, and he kept on muttering Zhuowen's name. Zhuowen's eyes flashed, and he kept the mysterious life divine lotus that was thrown away. This thing was the source of power for the life enlightening realm, and it should be of great help to him in the future. After doing all this, Yuan didn't even hesitate as he rushed towards the surface of the wolf god lake. With such a terrifying existence like the wolf god, how could Yuan dare to stay here any longer? And because he was covered in coral juice, the surrounding sea wolves turned a blind eye to him. The wolf god looked indifferently at Zhuowen, who was leaving. It had naturally noticed this human long ago. If it wanted to, killing this ant-like human would be as easy as flipping its hand, but it didn't. Pill Emperor Turtle, I'll let you off this time for the sake of the Pill Emperor Fire. If you use me as a shield again, don't blame me for attacking you. A distant voice slowly passed into the depths of Zhuowen's mind. Zhuowen clearly felt the Pill Emperor Turtle in his hand suddenly tremble. Obviously, it was very afraid of the wolf god's words. Zhuowen realized that the reason the wolf god didn't chase them was all because of the Pill Emperor Turtle. Zhuowen finally looked back at the bottom of the wolf god lake and found that the densely packed sea wolves were all rushing towards the place where LV Haotian was at the bottom of the lake. Zhuowen could even hear LV Haotian's miserable screams. He knew that LV Haotian was completely finished. Under the suppression of the wolf god, LV Haotian was probably going to be eaten by countless sea wolves. Thinking that a life-enlightening realm expert of a generation actually died here, Zhuowen sighed in his heart. However, he was more happy. After all, LV Haotian was Zhuowen's mortal enemy. Now that he could get rid of him, he was naturally happy. The moment Zhuowen broke out of the water, he immediately felt many gazes directed at him. Then he discovered that there were actually many cultivators gathered around the wolf god lake. Among them, there were also 5 half-step 9th-step void realm experts, including the black-robed man. At this moment, all the cultivators looked at Zhuowen with tacit understanding, and all of them fell into a strange silence. Most of the cultivators' gazes fell on the severed arm in Zhuowen's hand and the multiple-birth mysterious divine lotus. Zhuowen didn't even look at these cultivators. Instead, he fled into the distance. He knew that most of these cultivators followed LV Haotian here to pick up a bargain. He was too lazy to care about them. Not long after Zhuowen left, the cultivators around the wolf god lake were in an uproar. They clearly heard LV Haotian's resentful voice from outside. Now, in this strange lake, only Zhuowen appeared. On the contrary, LV Haotian was nowhere to be seen. Such a result couldn't help but make many of the cultivators present let their imagination run wild. The arm in Zhuowen's hand just now, could it be LV Haotian's arm? I remember LV Haotian's spirit ring. The black-robed man suddenly said. Impossible, right? Although Zhuowen is strong, he's only at the peak of the 7th step void realm. How could he be LV Haotian's opponent? One of the cultivators retorted. I think it's very possible. Didn't you hear LV Haotian scream just now? Maybe LV Haotian was really killed? Another cultivator said. The black-robed man said coldly, Did you see the lotus in Zhuowen's hand? That's the mysterious life divine lotus. It's a divine lotus that automatically condenses when a life enlightenment realm expert climbs the 9th step of the void heavenly bridge. And this mysterious life divine lotus is the source of life enlightenment realm expert's mysterious life divine force. It's more important than life. Do you think LV Haotian would give this mysterious life divine lotus to Zhuowen other than cutting off his arm and giving it to Zhuowen? As soon as the black-robed man said this, the surrounding people fell into silence. Although many people didn't want to believe that Zhuowen really killed LV Haotian, the details listed by the black-robed man showed that what they didn't want to believe was true. LV Haotian was dead, and he died because of Zhuowen. Although they didn't know how Zhuowen did it, the same thought arose in everyone's mind. They absolutely couldn't provoke Zhuowen. Once they did, the consequences would be unimaginable. In the following period of time, the news of LV Haotian's death gradually spread inside the Divine Pill's secret realm. And Zhuan, who killed LV Haotian, was once again remembered by many cultivators. Originally, many cultivators coveted Zhuan's life or death pill, but after knowing that LV Haotian died because of Zhuan, many cultivators gave up looking for Zhuan. On the contrary, many cultivators specifically remembered Zhuan's appearance and aura so that if they met him in the Divine Pill's secret realm, they would immediately stay away from him. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to keep their lives. LV Haotian is dead. How did Zhuan do it? Chapter 24:10. A considerable harvest after separating from Yao Xiangjuan and the others, Palace Master Jing Yun had been looking for Zhuan's whereabouts. However, she didn't find any trace of Zhuan. Instead, she heard the news of Lu Haotian's death. Moreover, she later learned that Lu Haotian was killed by Zhuan. Palace Master Jing Yun naturally didn't believe this. Although Zhuan's strength wasn't ordinary, it wasn't enough to kill a life-enlightening realm expert. I'm afraid that Lu Haotian's death has something to do with this lake. However, Zhuan was able to escape from this lake and even killed Lu Haotian. It can be seen that this child really can't be underestimated. Palace Master Jing Yun's shapely eyebrows relaxed. She guessed the answer that was closest to the truth. It had to be said that Palace Master Jing Yun was much calmer than Lu Haotian, whether it was her way of doing things or her way of thinking. It could be seen that although Palace Master Jing Yun's strength was about the same as Lu Haotian's, she was definitely much more difficult to deal with than Lu Haotian. Palace Master Jing Yun's shapely eyebrows slightly wrinkled. Her powerful divine sense slowly penetrated into the depths of the lake. She wanted to carefully investigate what was strange about this lake. Palace Master Jing Yun originally gave up her eyes and focused on cultivating her divine soul. Her divine sense was much stronger than Zhuan's. Of course, the most important thing was that Palace Master Jing Yun's cultivation was much higher than Zhuan's. Zhuan was also in the life-enlightening realm. With his terrifying starry sky divine soul, his divine sense would definitely far surpass Palace Master Jing Yun's. However, Zhuan's current cultivation was too low. The gap between his divine sense and Palace Master Jing Yun's divine sense was still very big. Palace Master Jing Yun's divine sense extended into the bottom of the lake. Soon, she found a very familiar corpse in a coral reef at the bottom of the lake. Only bones were left of this corpse. The clothes on his body were also tattered. However, she still recognized this corpse from the tattered clothes. Wasn't this Lu Haotian? Palace Master Jing Yun carefully observed Lu Haotian's corpse. She found that Lu Haotian's injuries were as if he had been gnawed by some kind of creature. His corpse was almost distorted and incomplete. The condition of Lu Haotian's corpse strengthened Palace Master Jing Yun's guess. Suddenly, a terrifying divine sense gushed out from the depths of the lake and fiercely bombarded Palace Master Jing Yun's divine sense. Palace Master Jing Yun couldn't help but let out a muffled groan as she hurriedly withdrew her divine sense from the bottom of the lake. This is the Wolf Deity Lake, my territory. Please do not casually explore this lake, otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. When Palace Master Jing Yun retracted her consciousness, a cold voice echoed in her mind. After a moment of silence, Palace Master Jing Yun cupped her fists and said, "I have no intention of offending you. Farewell." After saying that, Palace Master Jing Yun left the Divine Wolf Lake. Although she hadn't exchanged blows with the master of the Divine Wolf Lake, she could tell that he was at least a life-comprehending realm expert from the powerful divine sense he had just displayed. He might even be more terrifying than an ordinary life-comprehending realm expert. Therefore, Palace Master Jing Yun cleverly admitted defeat and immediately left the Wolf God Lake. At the bottom of the Divine Wolf Lake, the wolf deity's scarlet eyes looked coldly at Palace Master Jing Yun's departing figure. It didn't chase after her. Palace Master Jing Yun's aura was very strong, and she didn't provoke it. Therefore, it didn't need to exchange blows with such an expert. Ever since the incident at the Divine Wolf Lake, Zhuan's fame in the Divine Pill's secret realm had increased exponentially. When all the cultivators talked about Zhuan, their eyes would be filled with fear. As the main character of this incident, Yuan was currently hiding in a secluded cave, inspecting his spoils of war. This time, Yuan had obtained the spirit rings of 12 half-step Void Sky Realm experts, including the Begonia Elder and the life-comprehending realm expert, Lu Haotian. Although Zhuowen had yet to open their spirit rings, he could guess that the things in these spirit rings must be extremely precious. First, Zhuowen opened the spirit rings of the Begonia Elder and the other 12 people. When Zhuowen discovered the terrifyingly rich resources in the spirit rings of the Begonia Elder and the others, the calmness in his eyes could no longer be maintained. They were filled with passion and excitement. The resources in each of the spirit rings of the Begonia Elder and the other 12 people were almost the same as the resources in Zhuowen's spirit ring. Although Zhuowen was only a 7th-step Void Sky Realm cultivator, he had endless opportunities. His wealth had long left other cultivators in the same realm far behind. Even ordinary half-step Void Sky Realm cultivators might not be as rich as Zhuowen. However, the Begonia Elder and the other 12 people were different. They weren't ordinary half-step Void Sky Realm cultivators. Each of them had lived for a very long time. Although they might not be the strongest in the same realm, they had lived for too long. Naturally, they had accumulated a huge amount of wealth that was far beyond the imagination of ordinary people. Although the resources in the spirit rings might only be a portion, it was still enough to make Zhuowen have a whole new level of respect for them. Especially the Begonia Elder's spirit ring. The resources were the most abundant. There were tens of thousands of high-grade divine pills and supreme-grade divine stones everywhere. There were also many Void Sky divine tools. Of course, there were also secondary heaven-breaking divine tools, but there were only 2 of them. After inspecting the 12 spirit rings one by one, the smile on Zhuowen's face became even wider. He knew that just the resources in these 12 spirit rings had far exceeded his imagination. He hadn't even started looking at LV Haotian's spirit ring. LV Haotian was a life-enlightening realm expert, so the things in his spirit ring must be even more abundant. What a powerful restriction! However, when Zhuowen habitually tried to break the restriction on LV Haotian's spirit ring, he found that he was obstructed. The restriction on LV Haotian's spirit ring was much stronger than the other 12 spirit rings. I don't believe it. Zhuowen didn't believe it and tried his best to circulate the divine force in his body. At the same time, his hands formed a series of seals, hoping to break the restriction on LV Haotian's spirit ring. Unfortunately, Zhuowen tried more than 10 times, but the restriction on the spirit ring was as immovable as a mountain. It was impossible to move it. Zhuowen was unwilling to give up and frowned as he looked at the spirit ring in front of him. The restriction set up by a life-enlightening realm expert is not so easy to break. The restriction in this spirit ring is not formed by ordinary divine force, but the mysterious life divine force. Unless you use a space-time divine ability, you might be able to forcefully break the restriction, but you might also destroy the spirit ring and destroy the things inside. The Pill Emperor Tortoise laid on the ground with the pill furnace on its back and slowly turned its head to look at Zhuowen. Zhuowen didn't say anything, but he was unwilling to give up. I wonder if LV Haotian's mysterious life divine lotus can break the restriction on the spirit ring? Zhuowen seemed to have thought of something and immediately took out a green lotus from the spirit ring. He held the lotus with one hand and brought it to the side of the spirit ring. Chapter 24:11. Everlasting Ice Lotus's abnormality. Zhuowen heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed like the mysterious life lotus was still useful. However, just as Zhuowen was about to open LV Haotian's spirit ring, a strange sound came from his spirit ring. Zhuowen frowned, and then he flicked his sleeve and withdrew a crystalline and translucent ice lotus. As soon as the ice lotus appeared, a wave of terrifying cold air spread out, causing Zhuowen's eyes to brighten slightly. It was the everlasting ice lotus. Ever since the everlasting ice lotus devoured the ice origin, its power had increased greatly. However, the ice origin was too powerful. Occasionally, when Zhuowen used the everlasting ice lotus, the ice origin would not cooperate with him. Hence, he could not unleash the everlasting ice lotus's full power. Because of this, Zhuowen rarely used the everlasting ice lotus. Moreover, the everlasting ice lotus had been damaged in the last battle, so Zhuowen let the everlasting ice lotus recuperate on its own and tried not to use it. Now that the mysterious life lotus had caused the everlasting ice lotus to react, Yuan was a little surprised and puzzled. However, he still took out the everlasting ice lotus immediately. After the everlasting ice lotus was taken out, it disappeared with a swoosh and landed on top of the mysterious life lotus. Then, Yuan was shocked to find that the mysterious life lotus, which contained a terrifying mysterious life divine power, was gradually withering. The surging mysterious life divine power in the mysterious life lotus was being ruthlessly absorbed by the everlasting ice lotus. After a while, the mysterious life lotus completely withered and became lifeless. In the end, it was completely annihilated. On the other hand, although the surface of the everlasting ice lotus was still crystal clear, Yuan could feel that the everlasting ice lotus contained an extremely powerful life divine power. It actually devoured the mysterious life divine power of the mysterious life lotus. Your ice lotus is not simple. Where did it come from? Pill Emperor Turtle also noticed this and could not help but ask in surprise. Zhuowen fell into deep thought. He had obtained the ice origin of the everlasting ice lotus in that mysterious small world. It was also there that he had first met Ma Yujie. In fact, when Ma Yujie was frozen between the corpses of the Devourer King and the five-clawed golden dragon, Yuan already felt that something was wrong. He didn't think that the ice origin would be powerful enough to freeze so many powerful creatures in the ice tower. Now that the ice origin within the everlasting ice lotus had actually taken the initiative to devour the mysterious life divine lotus, this made Zhuowen even more certain that the ice origin he obtained from the small world was not that simple. In addition, Ma Yujie really wanted the ice source in Zhuowen's hands. If it weren't for Zhuowen's quick reaction, the ice source would have become Ma Yujie's. No, why does this ice source feel so similar to the eternal time in the river of space-time quicksand? Zhuowen held the everlasting ice lotus in his hand. The more he looked at it, the more familiar it felt. Soon, he realized that the ice origin was not really ice formed by water, but a kind of ice formed by water due to the eternal time stoppage. The small world that Zhuowen had entered back then was probably a time stoppage. However, Zhuowen had never considered it because of his preconceived notions. Now that Zhuowen had entered the river of space-time quicksand and seen the eternal time stoppage, he realized that the ice origin and the eternal time stoppage were similar. It seems that the small world back then might have something to do with the space-time master. Otherwise, that small world would not have been time stoppage. The more Zhuowen thought about it, the more he felt that Ma Yujie might have something to do with the space-time master. Of course, Zhuowen did not know what kind of relationship it was. Zhuowen shook his head. He realized that the more he thought about it, the more confused his mind became. The relationship he wanted became more and more complicated. Of course, he was even more curious about Ma Yujie's identity. Although this fatty looked funny, he hid it very well. Your ice lotus contains LV Haotian's mysterious life divine power. If you can control it, this mysterious life divine power will belong to you. With the mysterious life divine power, I'm afraid that cultivators below the life enlightenment realm are simply cannon fodder to you. Pill Emperor Turtle interrupted Zhuowen's thoughts and clicked his tongue in wonder. Zhuowen then noticed the everlasting ice lotus in his hand. Pill Emperor Turtle was right. After absorbing the mysterious life divine lotus, the everlasting ice lotus's aura was extremely powerful. Furthermore, Zhuowen also discovered that if he used his mind, the mysterious life divine power within the everlasting ice lotus could indeed be used according to his wishes. The mysterious life divine power was the energy source of the life enlightenment realm. It was equivalent to the human heart. It was used to supply the life enlightenment realm experts with the life enlightenment realm's mysterious life divine power. However, because the life enlightenment realm cultivators were alive, the mysterious life divine power in the mysterious life divine lotus could be produced continuously. However, Yuan knew that the owner of this mysterious life divine lotus was already dead. Therefore, once the mysterious life divine power was used up, no new mysterious life divine power would be produced. However, the power of this everlasting ice lotus was still not to be underestimated. At least now, this everlasting ice lotus was definitely another trump card of his on the same level as his space-time sacred art. Moreover, because the space-time sacred art was limited by his realm, the mysterious life-divine power in the everlasting ice lotus should be even more terrifying than the space-time sacred art. With such a trump card, Yuan was confident that he could face a life enlightenment realm expert head-on. Opening LV Haotian's spirit ring, Yuan first found the space-time wheel and carefully put it away. Then, he put away the other resources in the spirit ring one by one. Needless to say, the resources in LV Haotian's spirit ring were abundant. It was definitely far more than the sum of the spirit rings of the other 12 people. Yuan counted and happily put all the resources into his spirit ring. The Divine Pill secret realm is about to close. Don't you want to use the remaining time to explore? The Elixir Emperor turtle was still lying on the ground, looking at Yuan with its dead fish eyes. Yuan shook his head and said, "This time, I have collected enough divine pills. Moreover, I plan to let you help me fuse all these divine pills into fused divine pills that are suitable for me. The fused divine pills produced by your Elixir Emperor furnace are indeed magical." Yuan had experienced the effects of fused divine pills. It was indeed indescribable. Moreover, this Elixir Emperor turtle could be controlled by humans. During the process of fusing divine pills, it deliberately fused them into fused divine pills that were suitable for Yuan's physique. It could be said that a suitable fused divine pill was more useful than thousands of high-grade divine pills for a cultivator. Are you treating me as a coolie? Chapter 24:12. The birth of the Rakshasa King Yuan rolled his eyes at the Pill Emperor tortoise. This guy really had the same personality as Xiao He. Yuan took out nearly half of the divine pills he had and gave them to the Pill Emperor tortoise. After asking it to refine more divine pills, he asked, "The divine pill secret realm is closing. Do you want to leave with me?" The Pill Emperor tortoise controlled the Pill Emperor furnace to collect all the divine pills. Then, it looked at Yuan indifferently and said, "You think too much. I definitely won't leave the divine pills secret realm. After I finish refining the divine pills for you, you can leave by yourself." Yuan frowned but didn't say anything. After all, this was the Pill Emperor tortoise's will. He couldn't force it. Next, Yuan quietly cultivated at the side of the cave, while the Pill Emperor turtle fiddled with the Pill Emperor furnace to refine more fused divine pills. Of course, while the Pill Emperor tortoise was fiddling with the Pill Emperor furnace, Yuan was still on guard. After all, he didn't want the Pill Emperor tortoise's furnace to explode again. Even if it happened again, he would have to escape in advance. Otherwise, he would definitely be tricked to death by the Pill Emperor tortoise. Fortunately, the Pill Emperor turtle was much more proficient this time. Many days passed in a row, but there were no mishaps like the last time. Yuan was finally able to relax. While Yuan was concentrating on his secluded cultivation in his cave mansion, the other places in the Divine Pill secret realm were just as usual. Most of the cultivators were in groups of 3 to 5, searching for traces of divine pills. As for the matter of the life or death pill, these cultivators tacitly kept their mouths shut. Death Valley, which was surrounded by black fog all year round, was still filled with the aura of death. At this moment, 5 cultivators landed on the periphery of Death Valley. These 5 cultivators were 3 men and 2 women. One of them was a handsome young man in white robes. He was a typical pretty boy. The cultivation of these 5 cultivators wasn't high. Among them, the strongest was the white-robed young man. His cultivation should be around the 7th step of the Void Sky realm. The other 4 cultivators were the weakest at the 4th step of the Void Sky realm. Iran, this Death Valley is not a good place. Let's stay away from here. A woman in green robes looked at Death Valley and said with a frown. The corners of the white-clothed young man's mouth curled up slightly, but he acted as if he didn't hear what the green-dressed woman said. He smiled and said, "Do you think that my outfit is similar to Yuan's?" Among the 5 cultivators, the white robes of the Emperor Tortoise's ran, and she looked, "Why did you deliberately dress like this today?" The woman in red woman looked at the white-robed young man in white said. She was a little looks. The smile on the white-robed young man's face deepened, and he said, I heard that Yun is also a cultivator with the 7th step of the Void Sky realm, but he obtained the life or death pill by luck. I can't help but admire his good luck. If I was there at that time, Yun wouldn't have been involved, and the life or death pill would have been mine. The other black-robed man looked at the white-robed young man speechlessly and muttered in his heart, What an idiot! Does he really think that he is Zhuowen just because he dresses like Zhuowen? Does he really think that he can obtain the life or death pill? He only knows how to daydream. The life or death pill was born here. I'll go and take a look. Maybe I can get another life or death pill. Just wait for a good show. The white-robed young man laughed and flew to the east of Death Valley. His figure was elegant and free. The black-robed man held his forehead with his right hand. This white-robed young man was just a temporary partner, and he wanted to have a chance to survive in the Divine Pill's secret realm. However, the black-robed man didn't expect that the white-robed young man was a Chunibyu. After hearing about the deeds of Jun, he fantasized every day that he was Jun. In other words, he fantasized that he was an expert more powerful than Zhuowen, and that he would be able to snatch the life or death pill from the hands of Lu Haoyan, Palace Master Jing Yun, and the other experts. In the eyes of the black-robed man, this white-robed young man was simply daydreaming. The white-robed young man had just arrived above the black fog and was about to show off when a big hand suddenly grabbed him. Let go, who are you? The white-robed young man's face changed dramatically, and he looked at the black fog with fear. Unfortunately, the black fog was unable to clearly see the appearance of the owner of this large hand. All that could be seen was darkness. You're too noisy. I know Zhuowen and you want to criticize that Zhuowen? What qualifications do you have? An indifferent voice came from the black fog. When the white-clothed young man heard this, his face immediately flushed red and he retorted that Zhuowen is only at the 7th step of the Void Sky realm. I am also at the 7th step of the Void Sky realm. He's just a bit luckier. If I had his good luck, I wouldn't have to worry about not being able to obtain the life and death pill and raise my strength. Trash like you? Let me tell you, if that Jun wants to kill you, he only needs to lift a finger. The voice in the black fog was full of disdain. Nonsense. The white-robed young man roared angrily. Nonsense, there's no need for Jun to make a move, I can crush you with one hand. The voice within the black fog was filled with impatience. It let out a cold snort. Immediately, the white-clothed young man let out a miserable shriek. He was crushed into a bloody mist by the large black hand. Even the illusory heavenly bridge was crushed into pieces. Run! When the black-robed young man saw this scene, he shouted loudly and was the first to run. Then the other 3 screamed and ran away. Unfortunately, for black lines shot out from the black fog and instantly pierced through the 4 people who were running away. The 4 people who were running away fell to the ground one after another. There was no breath left, and they were clearly dead. After killing the 5 people, a bloated figure slowly walked out of the black fog. When the bloated figure walked out of the black fog, one could see that this person was actually not unfamiliar to Zhuowen, because this person was Ma Yujie. At this moment, Ma Yujie was surrounded by 9,999 1-foot-long black candles, and each candle was burning with a pitch-black flame. When the black flame shone on Ma Yujie's face, it gave people a strange feeling. I finally got my hands on the candle of death. Ma Yujie waved his sleeve, and the candle of death was stored in his spirit ring. Bush, bush, bush. At the same time, vague figures appeared in the black fog behind him. They looked densely packed and extremely terrifying. At the front of the countless black figures was a figure that was 1,000 feet tall. He strode forward, and every step he took caused the entire Death Valley to tremble violently. It was as though an earthquake was occurring. Bang! The giant figure finally stopped behind Ma Yujie. Then, it took down the huge, pillar-like sword on its back and stabbed it into the ground. Rumble! The long sword stabbed into the ground 10 meters in front of Ma Yujie. Then, the surrounding ground collapsed, but the square meter where Ma Yujie was standing was intact. Luosha King, are you going to attack me? Chapter 24:13. Fear the Rakshasa king was over 300 meters tall and looked like a small mountain. Meanwhile, the countless evil spirits that surged out of Death Valley all stopped behind Rakshasa king, not daring to move recklessly. The Rakshasa king was covered in countless skeletons with a skull necklace around his neck and a skull helmet on his head. Even the long sword on the ground was cold and pale. It was obviously made of countless skeletons. 3 tall figures stood proudly beside the Rakshasa king. The 3 figures were very tall, about 30 meters tall, and their auras were much stronger than the evil spirits behind them. The 3 figures were Rakshasa guards that were carefully selected by the Rakshasa king. Each of them had been through hundreds of battles and were brave and good at fighting. They were the Rakshasa king's most capable left and right arms. The Rakshasa king's cold eyes stared at Zhuowen's back through the skull helmet and said, "What's your origin? You actually have the golden horn array flag and broke the seal of the death candle." Ma Yujia slowly turned around, looked up at the mountain-like Luosha king, and said, "Perhaps you have already guessed my origins. I think it's best if you follow me. I can guarantee that your life in the future will be many times better than being with the D-Dan fire." The Rakshasa king's eyes flickered. He paused for a moment and sneered. "The D-Pill fire created me, so he's my master. Do you think I'll betray my master?" But Ma Yujia burst into laughter and said, "Rakshasa king, this excuse of yours really makes me laugh my head off. I think you know better than me why the D-Pill fire built Death Valley in the Divine Pill's secret realm and cultivated undead spirits. His goal is only to continuously cultivate life and death pellets. You are all just nutrients for the cultivation of life and death pellets. However, he didn't expect that he would inadvertently cultivate a big guy like you. It's a pleasant surprise." A hint of disdain appeared in Ma Yujia's eyes as he continued, "But the Emperor Pill Fire is very wary of you. Later on, when it was injured, it set up 9,999 death candles in advance in order to restrain you." Rakshasa king fell into silence. He hesitated for a moment before saying coldly, "Hand over the candle of death on you, and we'll be even." Ma Yujia sneered and said, "We don't owe each other anything. Now, you owe me a big favor. If you don't appreciate it, then forget it. However, I have almost figured out how to use this death candle. If you want to be sealed again, then you can boldly try it." "How dare you speak to His Majesty like that?" Among the 3 Rakshasas standing behind the Rakshasa king, one of the Rakshasas with a graceful figure suddenly shouted. The Rakshasa's skin was dark green, and this female Rakshasa was also 30 meters tall. Although her face was extremely beautiful, her skin color and height immediately made her lose the delicate and beautiful feeling of a human woman. Ma Yujia sneered and waved his sleeve. Immediately, 9 death candles shot out from his sleeve. The 9 death candles silently surrounded the female Rakshasa in an instant. Then, the black candle flames connected together like black threads and spread out. It was as if countless threads of lightning were blasting into the female Rakshasa's body. Ah! The female Rakshasa immediately let out a miserable shriek. The flames of the candle of death had an absolute suppressive effect on them to begin with. Now that Ma Yujia had taken out 9 candle of death, it was extremely painful and torturous for her. "I'm talking to your master. Why are you interrupting?" Ma Yujia said indifferently. "Master, help me. I'm in so much pain." The female Rakshasa begged the Rakshasa king. The Rakshasa king looked at the female Rakshasa indifferently and then ignored her. Instead, he looked deeply at Ma Yujia and said, "Looks like you really know how to use this death candle. However, I'm afraid it won't be that easy for you to seal me again. You can try." Ma Yujia smiled faintly. The Rakshasa king immediately frowned. Clearly, he realized that this ordinary-looking fatty in front of him had become a lot more difficult to deal with. "You're not qualified for me to follow you, so you should give up," the Rakshasa king said proudly. However, Ma Yujia shook his head and said, "Looks like you still don't understand. However, it doesn't matter. It's fine if you don't follow me, but we can work together." "Work together? Work together for what?" the Rakshasa king asked in surprise. "I want the thing under Death Valley. Tell me its exact location," Ma Yujia said seriously. The Rakshasa king was shocked and said, "How do you know?" "You don't have to care about how I know. Now, tell me the entrance. Consider this my reward for helping you break the seal. Also, don't think about killing me with your own strength. With the death candle, you can't kill me," Mayuja said confidently. The Rakshasa king looked hesitant. The death candle was indeed very effective against him. Moreover, the fatty in front of him knew how to use the death candle. Just as Mayuja said, he really couldn't do anything to Mayuja now. "I'm not too sure what's under Death Valley. Back then, the Emperor Pillfire warned me not to touch that thing. Otherwise, there would be a bloody disaster. Why are you looking for that thing?" The Rakshasa king said unhappily. "You just need to tell me the exact location of the entrance. As for what I can do, it has nothing to do with you," Mayuja said coldly. The Rakshasa king looked pensive. Although he had always known that there was something under Death Valley, he had never gone in to see what it was. He had only heard about it from the Emperor Pillfire. Moreover, the Emperor Pillfire had very seriously said that the thing under Death Valley was an ominous thing, and it was best not to touch it. At that time, the Rakshasa king didn't care. Moreover, the entrance had a very terrifying restriction, so he didn't go in. "I'll send you the information about the entrance through telepathy." The Rakshasa king finally nodded in agreement. After sending Mayuja the exact location through telepathy, he drew his long sword and carried it on his shoulder. Mayuja nodded. Then he turned into a wisp of green smoke and burrowed into Death Valley. Clearly, he was looking for the so-called entrance. Mayuja's main purpose of rescuing the Rakshasa king this time wasn't to let the Rakshasa king follow him. His main purpose was to learn about the passage that led to the bottom of Death Valley from the Rakshasa king. And now, he had indeed achieved his goal. The Rakshasa king looked indifferently at the departing Mayuja. The 9 death candles beside the female Rakshasa had already been put away by Mayuja. At that moment, the female Rakshasa king was looking at Mayuja's back with hatred. "Master, are we going to let this human go just like that?" The female Rakshasa king said unwillingly. "You still want to keep him? If you think it's possible, then keep him." The Rakshasa king said indifferently. Chapter 24:14. Army of Evil Spirits. Mayuja had 9,999 death candles with him. Facing such a terrifying number of death candles, she would be courting death. "Let's go. Kill all the human cultivators in the Divine Pill Secret Realm. In the future, our territory will no longer be limited to Death Valley. The entire Divine Pill Secret Realm will be ours." The Rakshasa king's deep voice rang out. He held the giant bone sword in his right hand and swung it forward. Instantly, a terrifying gust of wind swept up like a storm. Under the gust of wind, the ground in front of him was shattered into dust, turning into a terrifying ruin. Roars rose and fell one after another. Then, the army of evil spirits behind the Rakshasa king swept out like a swarm of locusts. The scene was like a black cloud pressing down on the ground. The entire ground was dyed black, and the original color of the ground could not be seen clearly. "The 3 of you, go and find the exit of the Divine Pill Secret Realm. Seal the exit for me." The Rakshasa king looked at the 3 Rakshasas beside him and waved his huge palm. Instantly, a black energy like black smoke fell on the 3 Rakshasas. When the black smoke dispersed, the 3 of them found out that it was 3 black stones. The black stones looked ordinary, but the 3 Rakshasas did not dare to underestimate them. They knew that the black stones contained the Rakshasa king's power. When they sealed the exit, they would definitely need the Rakshasa king's power. Otherwise, if a life enlightenment realm cultivator appeared, the 3 of them might not be able to stop him. "Yes, master." The 3 of them took the 3 black stones and turned into 3 black shadows and left the place. "After being sealed for so long, my strength has been greatly reduced. I'm afraid that I'm only equivalent to a life enlightenment realm cultivator. Now, I need to recover my strength as soon as possible." The Rakshasa king mumbled to himself, and the bloodthirsty light in his eyes became more intense. The Rakshasa king had already thought of a shortcut to recover his strength. It was to directly consume the flesh and blood of cultivators to quickly recover his strength. Moreover, the stronger a cultivator was, the stronger the divine power contained in his flesh and blood, and the better the effect on his recovery. Under the command of the Rakshasa king, batches of evil spirits began to spread towards other areas of the divine pill's secret realm. However, many cultivators in the divine pill's secret realm were still unaware of what was going on. They were still exploring the divine pill's secret realm, hoping to obtain more divine pills. Moreover, as the closing time of the divine pill's secret realm was approaching, many of the cultivators felt a sense of urgency. Thus, they became even more diligent in exploring the secret realm. In a lush and verdant forest region, the trees that grew here could be described as towering trees. Every single one of them pierced through the clouds. It was an extremely spectacular sight. There were quite a number of cultivators gathered in this dense forest. The main reason for this was that some time ago, a place of treasure had appeared in the woods. Many high-ranked pills were scattered around the place, causing many cultivators to fight for them. Because of the appearance of this place of treasure, many cultivators gathered in this dense forest to continue their exploration. In their opinion, this dense forest was so big. Since there was a place of treasure, it was impossible for there to be only one place of treasure. There must be a few more. Therefore, they were all hoping to get lucky and didn't want to leave this dense forest. This was also the reason why the number of cultivators in this dense forest was so high. On the branch of a huge tree in the southwest part of the dense forest, there were two graceful and beautiful figures. One of them was an ordinary-looking woman. She patted her heaving chest and said in surprise, "Luckily we left quickly. Otherwise, we would have been surrounded by others." The woman standing in front of the ordinary-looking woman was wearing an elegant veil. Her skin was fair and white, and her beautiful face was revealed. This woman's beauty had definitely reached the level of being able to cause the downfall of a country. With just a single glance, she could make people's eyes light up and they would be attracted to her face for a long time. "Senior Sister Yao, it's all thanks to you this time. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't know how to sneak away." The ordinary-looking woman looked at the beautiful woman in front of her with gratitude in her beautiful eyes. The beautiful woman smiled and said, "Junior Sister Zhu, if it weren't for you, we wouldn't have found that place of treasure. Although we only got 30% of the pills inside, it's enough. When we get to a safe place, we'll split the pills in half." Needless to say, these two women were Zhu Rui and Yao Xiangjuan from the Six Desires Heavenly Palace. Since the two women parted with Palace Master Jing Yun, they had reunited to explore the Divine Pill's secret realm together. The two women were quite lucky. They had gained a lot along the way, and they could often find some scattered pills. This time, when they entered this dense forest, Zhu Rui accidentally stumbled into a place of treasure. After thoroughly searching this place of treasure, they caused a big commotion and attracted the attention of many cultivators in the dense forest. Of course, although their cultivation was quite good, it was impossible for them to face so many cultivators at the same time. On the other hand, Yao Xiangjuan was very calm. She only took 30% of the resources in the treasure, and then threw out all the 70% pills inside to attract the attention of the other cultivators. She took advantage of the chaos and left with Zhu Rui. This was the main reason why Zhu Rui was very grateful to Yao Xiangjuan. At that time, she was completely out of her wits. If Yao Xiangjuan wasn't there, not only would she have been robbed of all the pills, she might not even have been able to keep her life. "Senior sister, I'm sorry to hear you say that. This time, the biggest credit is still yours. You should get more of it," Zhu Rui said uncomfortably. However, Yao Xiangjuan smiled gently and said, "Junior Sister Zhu Rui, you're being too distant. You were the one who discovered the treasure land. Now that we're splitting it equally, I'm still the one who has the most benefits. Don't decline." Zhu Rui nodded when she saw Yao Xiangjuan's insistence. She knew that if she continued to refuse, it would only make Yao Xiangjuan unhappy. It was better to accept it openly. Seeing Zhu Rui accept it, Yao Xiangjuan was quite happy in her heart. "Senior sister, I heard that Yun killed LV Haotian before. Do you think it's true?" Suddenly, Zhu Rui said such a sentence without rhyme or reason. Yao Xiangjuan fell into silence. After a while, she smiled and said, "Although I don't know whether this rumor is true or not, if this is really done by Zhuowen, the credibility should be quite high." Zhu Rui curled her lips. She felt that Yao Xiangjuan trusted Zhuowen too much. She even believed this. LV Haoyan was a powerhouse of life enlightenment realm. He had mastered a higher level of power, mysterious life divine power. He was not on the same level as the cultivators below Void Sky 9 steps. Chapter 24:15. The joy of hunting Zhu Rui was already shocked when Zhuan killed a half-step Void Sky 9th step cultivator, but she could still accept it. However, the rumor that Zhuan had killed Lu Haoyan was too shocking. No matter how she comforted herself, she couldn't believe it. She was present when Zhuan killed the half-step Void Sky 9th step cultivator from the Lu Shrine. At that time, Zhuan had used all of his skills and even suffered serious injuries to barely kill the half-step Void Sky 9th step cultivator. If it was so strenuous to kill a half-step Void Sky 9th step cultivator, how could it be possible to kill a life enlightening realm cultivator? Even if Zhuan had a great fortuitous encounter in the Divine Pill secret realm, it was impossible for him to kill a life enlightening realm cultivator in such a short time. Zhu Rui's doubts were reasonable. Not only Zhu Rui, but many cultivators in the Divine Pill secret realm also doubted the authenticity of Zhuowen killing Lu Haoyan. After all, the gap between a half-step Void Sky 9th step cultivator and a life enlightening realm cultivator was too big. Even if a life enlightening realm cultivator wanted to kill a life enlightening realm cultivator, it would be very difficult, unless it was a terrifying monster that was invincible in the same realm. Of course, if they knew that Zhuan had schemed with the help of the Pill Emperor Turtle, the countless sea wolves of the Wolf God Lake, and the terrifying wolf god to kill Lu Haoyan, they wouldn't be so surprised. After all, the one who killed Lu Haoyan wasn't Zhuowen, but the wolf god that appeared with the help of the countless waves of the Wolf God Lake. Thump, thump, thump. The sound of a heartbeat suddenly resounded throughout the entire forest, as if there was an earthquake. This intense vibration immediately attracted the attention of the cultivators in the forest and the surrounding area. Then, all the cultivators subconsciously looked in the direction of the sound. Soon, they saw a scene that made them dumbfounded. What's going on? Zhu Rui frowned and asked subconsciously. Yao Xiangjuan's beautiful eyes changed slightly. She jumped up and looked towards the northern part of the forest, her face pale. In the northern part of the forest, there was a dense mass of black dots. Countless black dots were scurrying around the area, rushing towards the forest at an extremely fast speed. Behind these countless black dots, an enormous figure that was at least 300 meters tall walked over with large strides, and firmly followed behind these black dots. Yao Xiangjuan's beautiful eyes landed on the giant's body. She found that the giant was covered in skeletal armor, and there was a skeletal helmet on its head. There was also a huge bone sword on its back. When Yao Xiangjuan's gaze landed on the giant seemed to sense it and slowly turned its head to look at Yao Xiangjuan. Their eyes met. Yao Xiangjuan's body trembled, and her face turned pale. The moment their eyes met, she felt as if countless thunderbolts had exploded in her mind. She felt dizzy and was about to collapse at any time. Yao Xiangjuan hurriedly turned her head away. At this moment, Zhu Rui had already rushed to Yao Xiangjuan's side. When she saw the countless evil spirit army in the north, her face was filled with fear. These are evil spirits. Why are there so many of them? Zhu Rui's body trembled. She was too familiar with these evil spirits. When the life and death elixir of Death Valley was born, a gap was opened in the eastern part of Death Valley, and countless evil spirits appeared. However, that was only a portion of the evil spirits in the eastern part of Death Valley. Although there were many of them, it was not far from the point of despair. However, it was different now. The number of evil spirits in the northern part of the forest was so great that it was possible to see them in a daze. The terrifying number was far beyond their imagination. The number of evil spirits that appeared in Death Valley was tens or even hundreds of times greater. A sense of despair that she had never felt before spread in Zhu Rui's heart. Junior sister Zhu, let's go quickly. If we stay here, we will definitely die. Yao Xiangjuan immediately reacted. She then grabbed Zhu Rui's hand and fled towards the south without looking back. She knew that Palace Master Jingyun was in the south through the flower petals that she had given her. Now, the only person Yao Xiangjuan could rely on was Palace Master Jingyun. With so many evil spirits, she and Zhu Rui would definitely not be able to fend them off. They would only be cannon fodder if they went over. Not only Yao Xiangjuan and Zhu Rui, but all the cultivators in the forest also fled towards the south with fearful expressions. They could not understand why the evil spirits that had been trapped in Death Valley all this time would rush out at this moment. In particular, the 300-meter-tall giant that was following behind them was emitting an evil aura. Even if they were thousands of miles away, they could still deeply feel it. This aura was like a large, sharp hand, firmly grasping their lifelines in the palm of its hand, causing the fear in their hearts to grow even stronger. The aura of a human cultivator is really sweet. I haven't tasted a human cultivator in a long time. Rakshasa King walked forward step by step. He was not in a hurry to chase after them. Instead, he just followed behind them. With his strength, it would be a piece of cake for him to catch up and kill all the cultivators in the forest. However, he did not do that. He was now enjoying the pleasure of hunting. It was like a cat catching a mouse. Generally, after a cat caught a mouse, it would not be in a hurry to eat it. Instead, it would first release the mouse and let it escape. The cat would then follow behind until it got tired of playing. Then, it would catch the mouse again and start to enjoy the delicious taste of the mouse. Rakshasa King was currently enjoying the pleasure of hunting. When he got tired of it, he would make a move. Before he got tired of it, he would naturally let his evil spirit army make a move. He only needed to watch a good show from behind. Suddenly, the cultivators who were running at the back let out shrill screams. They were caught up by the evil spirits at the front and were then surrounded by countless evil spirits. The screams did not even last long before they immediately stopped. If one paid attention, those cultivators who were surrounded by evil spirits would soon turn into fleshless skeletons. The cultivators who were still running ahead felt their hearts turn cold when they detected this scene with their divine senses. Under the threat of death, the cultivators' speed was much faster than usual. However, this did not help at all because the evil spirit army was controlled by Rakshasa King. It was naturally easy for Rakshasa King to speed up these evil spirits. Therefore, the screams became more and more shrill and concentrated. The cultivators who fell behind were gradually being replaced by the evil spirit army and died. Meanwhile, the cultivators with higher cultivation bases who were at the front were all on tenterhooks. They wished that they had 7 or 8 legs now so that they could run faster. Yao Xiangjuan and Zhu Rui were at the front. Zhu Rui's cultivation base was ordinary, but Yao Xiangjuan was different. She was a genius of the 6 Desires Heavenly Palace and had many good things on her. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.